Chapter 407. Zhang Zhong carried out his son's policy very well, which was to give benefits first. Once the benefits were given, unless there was an ungrateful person, there would be more people who would be grateful. In order to make the people believe, Zhang Zhong waved his hand twice towards the boat. Immediately, 40 doctors stood up. They were all wearing the same white gown, no different from the doctors here. When the people saw so many people who could treat diseases, they were stunned and speechless. It was the first time an official cooked for them, the first time an official accompanied them to eat the same thing, and the first time an official brought a doctor to treat them. The old man walked over and asked Zhang Zhong, "Sir, you said that those doctors are here to treat us? May I know where you live? How much money do you have?" "Yes, the doctors are here to treat you all. At the same time, they are here to learn from some people who know a little about medicine. As for my family, there is a Zhangjia Zhuangzi in Sanshui County, north of the capital. I don't know how much money he has, but in short, he can take out tens of thousands of strings of coins." Zhang Zhong just found that this old man was different. When he heard him ask, he didn't hide and told him the truth. Zhang Zhong's words made the officials next to him gasp. If he could take out tens of thousands of strings of coins at will, then how much money did his family have? The old man nodded, smiled, and asked again, "Is there a mountain on the side and a lake in the middle, the Zhang family's manor in the middle of the water? Is it the Zhangjia Zhuangzi who changed Sanshui County from Zhongxian to Shang County with the power of a village? Is it the Zhangjia Zhuangzi who built a 2-story building for the villagers? Is it the Zhangjia Zhuangzi who made the people in the county live a good life? Is it the top scorer of the new examination?" But after only being the county magistrate of Huayuan County for a year, he was able to make the lives of the people in the surrounding counties worry-free. He also allowed the people in the surrounding counties to have spare money, and even united the 7 counties to form a prefecture, Zhangjia Zhuangzi. The old man's voice was special. He shouted so that the people around him could hear him clearly. Because the officials had not received the news and were too far away, they did not know what was going on with Zhang Zhong. They only knew that the original provincial governor would leave this year and that there would definitely be someone to take over. They did not expect that Zhang Zhong did not take the land route but came over by water. Now that they heard the old man's questions and saw how Zhang Zhong nodded every time he asked a question, they were scared out of their wits. Some people understood that the new provincial governor wasn't sent here because there was no place for him to go. He was too amazing. He actually retreated from a middle county to become an upper county, and then combined the counties to become a province. If he was still a provincial governor in the capital, he would have to be a 3rd-rank official. Advancing from the 7th rank all of a sudden to the 3rd rank was really inexcusable. However, his ability was there for all to see. He couldn't be promoted to the 6th rank, right? He was originally the top scorer, so he should be a 6th-rank official directly. He couldn't be suppressed to the 7th rank anymore. This was the reason why he came here to be the provincial governor. First, the emperor hoped that he could govern this place like the other 2 counties. Second, he was prepared to put him in an important position. He was in charge of a region at such a young age. His future was limitless. The common people did not understand what he was talking about. They only knew that this new high-ranking official had done a lot of good things for the common people in his previous place. In the future, his place would also be better. They knew that this person's family was rich and would not care about the things in the province. They knew that this person was the top scorer. There would be one in every imperial examination. He had great ability and was a literary star. When these things were added together, some of the common people could not help but cry. They knelt down and kowtowed in the direction of the capital, thanking the emperor for sending such an official. This kind of official was a treasure. He would be good wherever he was placed. He was good to the common people. He had the ability and was not afraid of greed. How many years would it take for one to appear in this world? When this common person was nagging, the people beside him also heard and knelt down and kowtowed to the emperor. In the end, no one cared about Zhang Zhong anymore. Only the old man did not follow suit. Instead, he looked at Zhang Zhong with a smile. If it were a normal person who was understood so much by others, they would definitely be afraid. However, Zhong did not have such thoughts at all. What was he afraid of? He was indeed like this. Who in the capital did not know about the Zhong family's business? More importantly, he had a precious son and daughter-in-law. In a battle of wits and courage, he didn't need to spend any effort. 56 people were a little less, but the little Duke's manor had a lot of guards. Using them was no different from using his own family. Now, he even had 20 of them by his side. The old man looked at Zhong for a while and suddenly said, "Lord Zhong, I know the Zhong family's ability. You disdain to be greedy for money. Other people can't give you enough money to move your heart. If you manage this place well, Lord Zhong, you will also benefit a lot. Even if Li Sun and the prince don't support you, even if the former Minister of Revenue, Bai Shu, doesn't care about you, even if the current Minister of Works, Lu Jiro, gives up on the Zhong family, as long as you manage this place well, you won't have to worry." "Old sir, you're overthinking. I came here to manage this place well. It has nothing to do with other people. Even without those people, my Zhong family will still be the same." Zhong was a little unhappy when he heard the old man use the power behind him to spur and threaten him. Did the Zhong family still need so many people to protect them now? The Zhong family was already established. Without anyone's help, they could still do what they wanted to do. Whoever had the ability could also give birth to a good son. Before he got off the boat, his son had said that he did not need to care about any power here. The Zhong family still had a trump card. He could not believe the words of others, but if his son said it, then it must be true. If his son and daughter-in-law worked together, they could call the wind and summon the rain. The old man was a little stunned, then nodded and said, "Good, good, good. I'm relieved that Lord Zhong can say that. It seems that the Zhong family still has some tricks that they haven't used yet. Lord Zhong, remember, there is a matter here that involves too many people. You have to be careful." "But the matter of the salt pan here?" "Old sir, don't worry. I have a plan for the future." Zhong did not wait for the old man to finish speaking and continued. "Yes, it's the salt pan. Did Lord Zhong think about it before you came?" The old man was finally shocked. He remembered that others had said that the Zhong family had two masters. It could be said that they were two swords working together. Only then did he feel relieved. If everything was thought of by Zhong alone, with his age, then in the future, Zhong was slightly better. He looked in the direction of the boat and showed a gratified smile. His son had thought of everything he could think of. How tiring was it? Not only did he point out the importance of the salt pan, but he also talked about the new method of making salt. The two of them did not hide their words from the officials beside them. Only then did the officials know that there were so many people behind the new provincial governor. But who was this old man? They did not seem to have any impression of him. At this time, the common people also finished kowtowing to the emperor. They stood up one by one and looked at Zhong differently from before. They expressed their most sincere feelings. "Let's go and build the dock with me. Let Lord Zhang's boat dock quickly. It won't take 3 days. It will be built in 1 day. When it gets dark, light the torches." A strong man shouted to the others and strode toward the construction site. The others who had just worked followed behind. Each of their footsteps was very solid, as if they had endless strength. Zhong was stunned. He did not expect that these people were deliberately stalling. From their words, he knew that it would not take 3 days at all. It would be finished in 2 days at most. The difference between being recognized and not being recognized seemed to be a little big. However, Zhong was happy. He did not expect to win the hearts of the people in just one morning. The common people were really too kind. Who said that the common people here were southern barbarians? How could there be such good barbarians? As long as the officials were good to the common people, there would not be any ignorant common people who would come to make trouble. It seemed that the provincial governor would not be too tired in the future. If there was anything he needed the common people to do, he would send an official document and the common people would do it. After all, he did not intend to harm the common people. Thinking of this, Zhong shouted to those who were going to work, "I will cook for you tonight, and there will be wine. It is cold at sea at night. Drink some wine to warm yourself. There are more than 1,000 people on the Zhang family's boat. I wonder if they can come down and work with you? At this time, Zhang Zhong mentioned the people on the boat. At first, he wanted to let the 841 common people and the people from the 2 inner courtyards come down, but he was afraid that the local people would resist, so he left them on the boat. Now that the situation seemed to be much better, he tried to ask. At this time, the old man shouted, "The people brought by Lord Zhang are with us. What's wrong with coming down to work, right?" The common people shouted, "Yes," in unison. Today was like the new year to them. They were jubilant. They knew that a good official had come, they had a good meal, and they could drink wine at night. What else could they not do? In particular, the new official had asked for their opinions. They had to give him face no matter what. Not to mention working with the common people, they had to agree even if they had to supervise the work on the side. The small boats began to go back and forth between the big boat and the shore. Except for the people who stayed to watch the boat, all the people on the boat went to the shore. The common people from Kaifeng knew that they had to come down to work when they were on the boat. The young and strong people did not need to be told much and directly ran over to do the work. There were many differences between the common people on the 2 sides, but they had one thing in common, and that was that they all knew that Zhang Zhong was a good person and a good official. When they started to work, they talked about Zhang Zhong. Especially those who already knew about Zhang Zhong's deeds, they told the local people in detail what they heard. The common people of the 2 places quickly got along well with Zhang Zhong's help. The common people of Kaifeng talked about how difficult it was to live in their place because of the drought, and the local people also talked about how they could not eat sometimes. It could be said that they sympathized with each other. When they talked about Zhang Zhong, they were full of hope for the future. Under the kindness of Zhang Zhong, the common people of the 2 places got to know and understand each other in a short time. Even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not expect things to develop to this extent. After all, they regarded the common people as the common people of their time. The common people here seemed to have too many good points. Chapter 408. Li Sun stood beside Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and watched all of this. He sighed and said, "Who would have thought that as soon as your family arrived, you would be able to resolve the conflict between the people? Your luck is good." "How is this luck?" "This is called opportunity. If other officials came by land, they wouldn't have gathered so many people if they didn't have 18 ships. Even if they came, if my family didn't cook for the people, they wouldn't accept my father. No one would talk about the past, so the people wouldn't be relieved." Zhang Xiaobao saw that Li Sun attributed his hard work to luck, so he retorted. Li Sun didn't say anything this time. Seeing that most of the people on the boat had gone down, he also climbed down the ladder at the side. 56 people stayed in the water, protecting the people on the small boats as they landed safely. By this time, Zhang Zhong had a rough understanding of the situation. It was true that the prefecture was located in Ulei County, but the largest county in the prefecture was Yushan County. In the prefecture, other than himself, who was in charge of both military and political affairs, there were 4 other people. 2 of them were in charge of 2 departments. There were also 3 scribes, 50 prefecture soldiers, and 6 miscellaneous people. The soldiers couldn't be left behind. They had to follow the people who left. These soldiers were raised by the officials who left. Even if they were left behind, Zhang Zhong didn't dare to take them. In this way, the prefectural court seemed to have become a decoration, but the yamen of the 4 counties were fully staffed. There were county magistrates, deputy county secretaries, county wardens, clerks, and all sorts of other people. Not a single one was missing. Every county had more than 100 yamen runners, and there were also county magistrates and other people who were more than soldiers. As a result, if anything happened in the prefecture, they had to discuss it with the county magistrates. The local government was stronger than the prefecture. Zhang Zhong finally understood why the previous governor was so happy to see him come with official documents. No one would be comfortable if they were restricted in all aspects. Provincial Governor Zhang, why don't we let them work first? We can go back and deal with the local affairs. We can't slack off when it comes to the people. Wulei County's County Magistrate Zhang Yi said to Zhang Zhong. He had eaten his fill and was looking at other people working. Being blown by the sea breeze and basked in the scorching sun, he couldn't stand it anymore. Well, if everyone is busy, then you can go ahead and do it. I wonder if the magistrate of the state can help me find it? Zhang Zhong wanted to meet those 4 people. The 4 of them were in charge of the 6 departments. He did not know how they were doing. It could be said that they were in the dark. County Magistrate Zhang showed an expression that he didn't know. Provincial Governor Zhang, the 4 people might have gone elsewhere to investigate. Why don't you go back and wait? No need. I have my own arrangements. You can go back and do your work. Zhang Zhong knew that many of these people were against him, the new provincial governor. Before he could figure out what they were thinking, he would slowly investigate on his own. After Zhang Zhong finished speaking, some people immediately left in a hurry. Some people looked at Zhang Zhong and seemed to want to say something. When they saw that Zhang Zhong didn't intend to keep them for questioning, they also left. Zhang Zhong wasn't in a hurry to return to the prefecture. He stood there and watched the people build a simple dock. He was waiting for the people in the prefecture to come and find him. After all, it wasn't a big deal. If they didn't come today, he would go back to sleep on the ship. If they didn't come tomorrow, he would continue to sleep. Let's see who could outlast who. I'm old. My body can't take it anymore. I'll go back first. Lord Zhang will watch over here. The matters in the prefecture will be clear in the future. The old man just now used his hand to massage his waist and said this. He was helped away step by step. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun also came down. When they were about to go ashore, they instructed the 56 people, continue to swim. Come up at night. It's easy to swim in the sea. Feel the sea water, especially the waves. Now you know why we put fish in the swimming pool. The 56 people didn't say anything. They lowered their heads and dove in. When they came out again, they were already several feet away. They split into groups of 2 and spread out. Li Sun stood on the shore and looked at the sea in the distance. This place looks good. We caught a few big fish on our way here. We can eat fish every day in the future. There's no rush to eat fish. We should build a new dock here. The dock needs to be repaired. We'll follow the route we took to come here. We'll ship the things here back and the things on the other side here. We won't unload the goods midway. If we want to buy things from the other side, we'll have to come to Luzhou. This was Zhang Xiaobao's next step. Luzhou was a huge place, but the population was too small. It was no wonder it could not develop. Nobody had anything to develop it. There were so many specialties. Apart from the tributes, why didn't they sell more? There must be something going on. There was another mountain range on the other side. It was the 100,000 Mountains. It was like a primeval forest. It was similar to Fragrant Mountain in Huayuan County. However, it was bigger than Fragrant Mountain. There were countless good things there. The people who guarded this place were poor for 2 reasons. First, there were some things that were not valued. Second, there were trade channels. Perhaps, there were people who came to buy all kinds of things. Due to the difficult road and the places that could be sold were far away, the people who came to buy the goods deliberately lowered the price. Let alone now, even when they came here, some villagers were still suppressed by outsiders. It was very difficult for the villagers to go out and sell their goods. Fortunately, they were here. They did not have to be afraid of being suppressed in the future. The reason why they were suppressed was because of some of the goods that were transported here. For example, cloth and medicine that were not available in the local area. Since they had a fleet of transport ships, they could bring them here and sell them at a fair price. They did not believe that anyone would dare to suppress them. Zhang Xiaobao analyzed the situation. Wang Wan also thought of something. Xiaobao, I think the people here are too conservative. Why don't they raise more poultry and livestock? If they sell the things they produce, their lives will be better. Where are there no conservative people? It's easy to sell them. If we sell our own things, we won't be able to sell them for a good price. If we sell them too far away, we won't be able to afford to go back and forth. If we collect other people's things and sell them together, won't we become merchants? Our family has a lot of business, but they are all under other people's names. If they really become merchants, it will be very troublesome to do things in the future. Moreover, they are already used to this kind of life. For example, in the remote villages of our time, there were still people who only raised 2 pigs and kept them for the new year to eat. They still raised more than 10 chickens and waited for them to lay eggs. The main thing is that these things require capital. When one falls ill, everything will be gone. They are all ordinary families. Building a house requires money, getting married requires money, and even getting sick requires money. Living like this, many generations of people can only be rich when nothing major happens. Zhang Xiaobao actually didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this. As long as the government guided them, the people would be able to live a good life. Some people were smart and forgot their good qualities. In their eyes, there was only money. There was no family affection, no friendship, and even love became a luxury. When the two of them talked, only their lips moved. Li Sun didn't know anything. He was already used to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's communication method. To him, it was very magical. He didn't know how the two of them could understand. In the end, he concluded that it was because the two of them had been together for a long time after they opened their eyes. Thinking about the rolling in money in the future, Li Sun felt that his mind was as broad as the sea and the sky. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, "I'll write a letter in a while and have someone send it to the military station to explain the matter. I don't know what Imperial Uncle is thinking. He didn't send your father's matter to the military station first. I've decided to pull in a few more merchants and build a bigger dock." Li Sun was very excited when he spoke. He couldn't fight for a position that he shouldn't, but he could make more money. With money, not only could he live a life of luxury, but he could also help the poor. In the future, it would be good to be a free and unfettered prince. He could govern his side well. They didn't send the detailed information here through the military station. Maybe the emperor noticed some things here and didn't want the people here to prepare in advance. It is estimated that in addition to the tribute for the emperor will also collect a lot of extra tributes for some prince, minister, or even the big families. Don't look for other people to build the dock here, just the two of us. In the future, not only will we build normal merchant ships, but also warships. How can we let other people join us? You are a relative of the country, and my father is a high official. As long as the emperor knows about the warships, there will be no problem. It will be troublesome if other merchants take advantage of us. Zhang Xiaobao didn't hide anything from Li Sun. For example, he let him know about the matter of training the army. This time was the same. All kinds of business between the two families were mixed together, and they were also connected politically. They were grasshoppers on the same rope. As long as there was something fun to do, it would be fine. Build warships? Your family wants to rebel? Then I can't protect you. It's okay to train some guards, and it's okay to hide some military weapons. After all, your family is doing too many things, and it's easy to be plotted against, especially by other countries. Even if Imperial Uncle knows, he won't do anything. But your father is an official here, and he wants to build warships. It doesn't seem good, right? Li Sun still protected the Zhang family in his heart. He also didn't think that the Zhang family would rebel. Then what was the point of building warships? Zhang Xiaobao glared at Li Sun. What's the point of rebelling? Do you know how to do experiments? There are many technologies that the people in the imperial court don't know. How long will it take to teach them? We will use a new technology on the ship, and we will tell the emperor. You will tell him directly, so that the emperor will know. If he wants to do something, he can imitate it. We will build a big ship, and in the future, we will go to other places to have a look. Japan has been here before, and we will go further. We won't use warships, but only ordinary cargo ships. What if we get beaten? How long will it take to go out? Li Sun was also moved by Zhang Xiaobao's words. Chapter 409. The construction of ships and warships was a matter of the distant future. What was more important was that when it was almost time for dinner, the 4 judges who had disappeared returned. They were all dressed in official robes and had come together in a carriage. Apart from the driver of each carriage, there was also an attendant in each of the carriages. The 4 of them got off the carriage and brushed off the non-existent dust on their bodies. They smiled in unison and walked up. "I am Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing." "I didn't know you were coming," one of them said first. The person beside him immediately introduced himself. "Sir, I am Military Advisor Chao Harue and Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing." "Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing and Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing," the third person said. The fourth person had the brightest smile. "My lord, you're finally here. I thought it would take a few more days." "Oh, I'm Jiang Huanshe from the Judicial Army. My lord, you can leave everything to us in the future." Zhong Zhong didn't smile. He looked at the 4 of them with a serious face and asked, "What are the 4 of you busy with when you're not in the prefecture?" "Thank you for your concern, sir." Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing and Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing replied, "Sir, even though there are no soldiers in the prefecture, we still have to do water conservancy. There is a lot of rain in the prefecture. If we're not careful, we can cause a disaster. These days, I've been guarding the foot of the mountain. As long as the sky is cloudy, I'll be worried." "Yes, sir. Even though the tax has been paid, those things still need to be sorted out. I'm going to look around to see if anyone found anything. Otherwise, it will be difficult to handle the Earth tribute this year." The ones who said this were Military Advisor Chao Harue and Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing. Military Advisor Lu Shaoqing also said, "Sir, you don't know. The people here are not well educated. I have to look around and teach the people what is good and what is bad." Without waiting for the last person to speak, Zhang Zhong asked, "Is Officer Jiang busy investigating the case at various places?" "Not bad. This official likes this kind of deputy who puts all his focus on his duties. Otherwise, he would be letting down the Emperor's grace and the common people. The 4 of you have worked hard. It just so happens that the food over there is ready. Let's eat together." Hearing that it was a meal, Fan Jianqi burped. Facing Zhang Zhong's inquiring eyes, he explained, "Haha, sir, I've already eaten. I just ate a little. I'm busy, so I have to take some time to eat. Otherwise, I won't have time to eat." "Well, this official is not very busy and has some free time, so I can eat during mealtime. The rice here will be harvested in half a month, and the next batch will be planted immediately. Everyone will have to work hard." "Oh, since everyone has already eaten, why don't you tell this official how things are going with your respective tasks?" This official will listen while eating. Zhang Zhong didn't seem to understand the meaning behind Fan Jianqi's words. He walked towards the food area and called for the 4 people. The 4 people looked at each other. Suddenly, a smile appeared at the corners of their mouths. Fan Jianqi quickly followed and said, "Provincial Governor Zhang, we don't care about this specific matter. We just look around. There are county magistrates below. If you want to know more about the situation, you can ask them in each county." "So you can't say?" "Right. Then what is the use of you? Why don't you transfer to a useful place? This official will submit a memorial to the court tonight." Zhang Zhong was still expressionless. When he spoke, he didn't give the 4 people any face. "Thank you, my lord. We really don't want to work here anymore. Why don't my lord take over our work now? When the time comes, we won't have to worry about the state's affairs." Chao Harue also interjected. They thought that Zhang Zhong didn't dare to do this. Otherwise, the entire prefecture would be in chaos. It was impossible for Zhang Zhong to do things well by himself. They used this method of retreating to enter to force Zhang Zhong. As Chao Harue spoke, he even took out the seal. It seemed that he really wanted to do this. The other 3 people followed suit and brought the seal to Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong glanced at the 4 people and sneered, "Since the 4 of you think you can't do it anymore, then I won't hold back anymore." As Zhang Zhong spoke, he swiftly snatched the 6 seals. Then, he turned to the people in the inner courtyard and said, "Take the seals. From now on, all of Lu Zhou's members will be ready. Yun, since I brought you here, it's only natural that I'll assign you a task. You'll help the others figure out what they don't understand." Zhang Kaijin stepped forward happily. He used to be the county's chief secretary. Although he didn't have a specific position now, since he was here, he would probably be given an official position. Even if it was an empty position, at least he could do something. More than 20 people stepped forward from the crowd in the inner court. If each of them had a position, they would be able to support the prefecture. At this moment, Zhang Zhong said, "Since you don't have the seals, I'll take back the Yonggi Yishan. I'll write on the memorial that the 4 of you have resigned because you feel that you can't do a good job. I'll find someone to replace you. Please wait, Provincial Governor Zhang. We only said a few words to make you laugh when we saw you pulling a long face. Why would we resign? Please return the seals to us, my lord." Lu Shaoqing was slightly flustered when he saw Zhang Zhong came prepared. If he handed in the seals, how was he going to do his job in the future? Zhang Zhong was too bold. He actually took back the seals. Releasing and taking back the seals was a matter for the imperial court. "Then come and take it back yourselves. Each of you can take 1 seal. I have other arrangements for the secretaries and soldiers. Remember in the future that I don't like it when my subordinates joke and tease me." Zhang Zhong naturally didn't have the authority to take back the seals, but he had the authority to arrange for the empty positions. It was obviously wrong for 4 people to take up 6 positions. He took back 2 so that he could arrange for his subordinates. As he spoke, Zhang Zhong took back the seals of the secretaries and soldiers. He only gave the remaining 4 seals to Lu Shaoqing. Provincial Governor Zhang is right. We won't joke around in the future. Lu Shaoqing's face was gloomy. He went forward and took back the 4 seals. There was no need to count on the remaining 2 seals. Provincial governors had the authority to arrange for the empty positions to be filled first. As for whether they could really get the positions, that would depend on the arrangements of the imperial court. The 4 of them had suffered a loss. They didn't manage to intimidate Ran Baqian. Instead, they were taught a lesson. This made the 4 of them in a bad mood and they prepared to go back. However, Zhang Zhong didn't plan to let them off so easily. He handed the seals of the secretaries and officials to Zhang Kaijin. "Yun, in the future, you will be in charge of money, grain, tax, and other matters." Zhang Kaijin didn't expect things to be arranged so quickly. He happily took the seals. "Sir, don't worry. I will definitely do everything well. I know how to do this. After all, I was once the registrar." Zhang Zhong nodded at him. He looked at the 4 of them and said, "Since you've already eaten and don't have anything to do, stay here and wait for me to finish eating. Then we can go back to the prefecture together. I still have something to ask. How is the residence in the prefecture?" Provincial Governor Zhang is asking about the residence? There is. The place isn't small. It's just a bit trendy. The previous provincial governor sure wasn't used to it. Fan Jianxi replied from the side. However, she was laughing in her heart. That place was more than just a bit trendy. Needless to say, the sea was very humid. Just the place of residence was slightly sunken. There was always water seeping out of the ground. In those people's houses, when the seepage was bad, 2 inches of water would accumulate. There was no place on the body that didn't hurt. The previous provincial governor didn't have the money to buy a house outside, so he could only live there. She didn't know how this newcomer was like. Zhang Zhong and Wei Wei nodded. He wasn't worried about the humidity at all. When he came, he had already made preparations. There was nothing better than lime to absorb moisture. When the time came, he just had to sprinkle some everywhere. Zhang Xiaobao stood to the side and frowned. He wondered how trendy that place could be. The Zhang family didn't want to buy a house outside to live in. If something suddenly happened, they wouldn't be able to react in time. For example, if there was an unexpected situation and they didn't have time to deal with it in time, it would be 2 different things if they didn't live in time in the Yamen. If they lived outside, it would be easy to be impeached. At this time, it was already time for dinner. Like before, the common people were eating first. When there were fewer people, Zhang Zhong would get a portion. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun were also waiting. This time, Li Sun found an excuse to come out for treatment. He didn't want to reveal his identity. When the time came, he would buy a house next to the yamen and live there. When he was free, he would find Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to play. There were still 4 dishes in the evening. The main dish was pork pancakes and some wine, which made the common people feel Zhang Zhong's kindness. Especially the wine, which they couldn't drink at ordinary times. It was too expensive. The fishermen liked to drink some wine. In the morning, they would go out to sea before dawn. When the sun rose, some fishing boats came back one after another. The water was still cold. With the fog, drinking some wine made people feel much better. Regardless of whether they were working or not, they were all given half a bowl. There was no other way. The alcohol content was too high. It wasn't rice wine, the kind that had been distilled. The common people didn't care what kind of wine it was. As long as there was something to drink, it was fine. They took small sips and occasionally ate some dishes. The pork pancakes were also good. When it was time to eat, the old man also came over. He also held a bowl and took small sips. After taking a sip, he smacked his lips and stopped coughing. He moved closer to Zhang Zhong, who was eating, and said, "Lord Zhang, this wine is good stuff. Many fishermen will feel sore in their joints. If they can drink some wine in the future, they will feel much better." Zhang Zhong was eating and couldn't speak. He nodded to show that he understood. He glanced at his son. His son returned a confident look. Zhang Zhong was relieved. Chapter 4:10. After the meal, the local people and the people brought by Feng Kaifeng started working again. No matter what, they had to finish building the pier today. Zhang Zhong did not plan to go to the yamen today as it was already late. However, Zhang Xiaobao insisted on going. He wanted to see what was going on there. The sooner he found out, the sooner he could find a way to deal with it and move in. The 4 of them did not want to go as well. They were tired after a day of work. However, when they looked at the hundreds of armed people around Zhang Zhong, they were afraid that Zhang Zhong, the provincial governor who dared to do anything, would hurt them. Therefore, they could only force themselves to go to the yamen together despite their tiredness. Lu Zhou's yamen was in Ulay County. It was not far from the county yamen. Under such circumstances, the officials in the county yamen would be very uncomfortable, especially the county magistrate. He was supposed to be the highest official in the county, but he still had to listen to the yamen's orders. He could not show his authority at all. However, Lu Zhou seemed to be the opposite. The original provincial governor wanted his yamen to be further away from the county yamen. He only had 50 soldiers, but there were 150 yamen runners in Ulay County yamen. Even if the yamen was far away from the emperor, they were still equipped with weapons. The county magistrate, Zhang Yi, bought these weapons with his own money. As for where he got the money, it was simple. The group walked for nearly 4 hours. First, they passed by the county yamen. From the outside, it looked like a dilapidated place. Fortunately, the door did not fall off. However, they could see the 2-story building inside. It was built well. This should be the county magistrate's house. That was Wang Wan's thought. A county magistrate, especially one in such a remote place, wanted to build a building with his salary? Dream on. If his family was really capable, who would come here to be a county magistrate? This was different from Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong was promoted from a 7th grade to a 4th grade. If he found a good province, no one would want to do it. The group continued to move forward. After walking for about half an hour, the magistrate's office appeared in front of them. The low walls were built with mud. The paint on the door had almost faded away. There were small holes made by insects. Looking through the wall, the place was not small. Unfortunately, there were no 2-story buildings. At this time, except for a few people who were doing odd jobs, there was no one else in sight. The odd jobs were sitting next to a pile of fire and eating. The rest of the place was dark. He directly asked someone to open the door. With a squeaking sound, the door was completely opened. Only then did the people inside come over. The reason why the door could be opened just now was because they didn't bolt it. With the help of the lanterns on Zhang Zhong's side, they saw Zhang Zhong's clothes and immediately knew who had come. They bowed and invited him in. Zhang Zhong first came to the hall in the manner that specialized in handling cases. He walked to the side of the table and looked at it. There was a layer of dust on it. It seemed that nothing had been done for a long time. He then turned to the study. The study was empty. There was not even a small table, let alone a book. From the traces on the ground, he knew that the previous owner had moved everything that could be moved. How poor was he? He then looked at the signing room and other places. They were also empty. Zhang Zhong helplessly shook his head. He knew that it was not easy for others to become an official. These things would not be left behind. There were new things on the ship. No wonder all the officials were so greedy. It was not easy to become an official. If they were not greedy, how could they entertain others and give their families a good life? Perhaps only those officials who were really willing to do things for the people could be less greedy. There were also the children from the big families. They did not need to be greedy. They only wanted to achieve political achievements. Although he was not a member of a big family, his family had a lot of businesses. Instead of spending so much effort to get a few thousand strings of coins, even if it was tens of thousands of strings of coins, it would be better to take a rest during the leisure time. After taking a look at the manor's office, he walked to the back. The back was similar to Huayuan County, where there were many courtyards. Perhaps it was because the land here was not valuable, but the courtyards at the back were more than twice the size of those in Huayuan County. When walking with a lantern in the dark, he had to pay more attention to his feet. This place was okay. There were no blue stones on the road, but some sand. The sides of the road were bare. There were no flowers or plants. 2 kapok trees stood in the middle of the courtyard. After walking a few steps, Zhang Zhong found that something was wrong. There was water here. With the light of the lantern, it looked sparkling. When he entered the main courtyard, he could not find a foothold. He looked at the main room. The paper on the window had been torn by the wind and rain. Only a few small pieces were stuck on the window frame. This main room seems to be unoccupied. There is a lot of water, so it is wet. It should be the same in other places, right? Zhang Zhong asked the handyman. In reply to Master, that is indeed the case. I don't know why, but water keeps seeping out of this place. People who live in such a place will feel especially uncomfortable. If Master has money, why don't you buy a house outside? Governor Shi has always wanted to buy a house, but unfortunately, he didn't have enough money. The handyman answered respectfully. He saw that the new provincial governor was accompanied by so many armed people and felt that he should be rich. Well, this matter is not urgent. You all look around. The people of the vigorous protection team, Xiao Bao, and Cuckoo, follow me to other places. Zhang Zhong did not know what to do. He asked his son and daughter-in-law anxiously. He sent the others away and led the crowd to the back. After walking for a while, the people of the protection team spread out to be on guard. Zhang Zhong looked at his son. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other. He squatted down and dipped his finger in the water. He licked it with his tongue and said, "It is not seawater. There is no bitterness or saltiness. It should be underground water seeping up. We need to ask others about the seepage speed. If it is normal underground water seeping up, it means that the terrain here is low. If the terrain here is not low and it can still seep up, it means that there is pressurized water below. We can make an artesian well. Huzi, go and ask the handyman what is going on here." Wang Wan judged after Zhang Xiaobao's words. Huzi ran out. After a while, he came back and reported, "This place is higher than other places. There is usually 5 feet of water in the main house. It has been built with such a high wall. The water will not seep out at that height. But in this way, other places will follow and seep up. It is not fast, but it is not slow either. The previous governor asked his family to dig a ditch for the water to flow out. It is behind. You will know if you take a look. The previous governor wanted to dig more ditches, but he found that more water came out. The surrounding area is all wet. There are many houses next to the yamen. The people are not willing to do so, so they have to fill it up. Also, there is a river 3 li away from here. The previous governor wanted to dig a river across, but the 4 judges in the yamen did not agree. They said that the yamen's money was a waste of people's money. The county magistrate also told the people not to come and help, so the people did not dare to come. Besides, the previous governor did not have the money to work. After Huzi finished speaking, he retreated to the side. There was nothing else for him to do. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Zhang Zhong walked to the back together. At the back, they saw a ditch. The water gathered together and flowed out along the ditch. When they pushed open the back door, they saw that the water in the ditch flowed in the direction of a few houses. As they walked forward, they saw that the houses had dug ditches themselves and led the water to other places. I understand. There is no infrastructure here at all. When the rain falls, the rainwater flows in the same direction as the gutters. I really feel sorry for that Shi guy. The provincial governor is such a high-ranking official. For him to treat such a situation like this, he must not be an ordinary person. Zhang Xiaobao did not need to follow them to know what was going on. He wondered how that person became the provincial governor. Didn't you hear what Huzi said just now? The provincial governor wanted to do something, but those 4 people stopped him first. Then, the county magistrate threatened the people. Their family doesn't have much money to hire people to do private work, so they just dragged on like this. These people are really bad. From the looks of it, the 4 judges and Zhang Yi are bullying the provincial governor. Wang Wan analyzed at the side. She wanted to tell Zhang Xiaobao to quickly think of a solution. Otherwise, his father would also be bullied. Zhang Xiaobao curled his lips in disdain. Let's see who dares to use the original method on our family. This place is settled. It is good to have an artesian well. Dig down from the unimportant courtyard and build a pond. Then connect it to the river 3 miles away. There is running water. Think about it. The provincial governor's family does not have much money, but he privately raises 50 soldiers and makes weapons for them. Why is that? The cost of raising those soldiers is not small. Does it mean that he is afraid of his family's lives being threatened? Then who can threaten his life? The bailiffs do not dare. The county magistrate will not let the bailiffs do such things. However, outsiders dare, especially his family. I think that person is related to Zhang Yi. In other words, when someone threatens the lives of the provincial governor's family, the bailiffs will not appear. We can't count on them at all. Wang Wan added. This kind of thing was very common. It seemed confusing, but it was easy to understand once you knew. If there was anyone to blame, it would be the provincial governor's incompetence. A powerful person would take care of the other party. Zhang Zhong listened at the side and also felt that this was the case. However, he was not afraid. His family was rich. They did not have to worry about whether they had enough money to raise a few hundred more people. There was also the little prince's guards. His family would not be harmed. Zhang Zhong and his family were analyzing the situation and deciding to live in the manor. At the same time, in the yamen of Wulei County, more than 10 people gathered together to discuss the matter. County Magistrate Zhang, I heard that the new provincial governor is not ordinary. His family is rich and there are many people protecting him. Is the previous method no longer working? Why don't we give him some of the salt pan and some of the other precious tributes? A skinny man who was half a head taller than the others was sitting on a futon opposite Zhang Yi as he spoke to Zhang Yi. His family is rich? You believe that he can casually take out tens of thousands of strings of coins? Don't use the previous method of threatening him. Tomorrow, find a way to find him and find an opportunity to give him 1,000 strings of coins. See what he will do. Chapter 4:11. That night, Zhang Zhong and his family took a good look around their future home. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan took out all the plans they could think of and planned to get someone to start work tomorrow. The two of them planned to turn their new home into a garden. However, when the time came, others would benefit from it. This place was not like Huayuan County where the next county magistrate could be appointed. The position of the provincial governor was too high. Even the minister of the Ministry of Personnel could not decide who would be the next county magistrate, let alone them. However, they could not go out and find a new place to build a new house just to prevent others from owning it. This place was spacious and better than other places. It would be a pity if they could not build a perfect home. If there's no other way, we'll let the new provincial governor take a look at this place when your father leaves in the future. We'll ask him to pay for it. If he pays, we'll let him do it. If he doesn't, we'll tear down the house and block the artesian well. Wang Wan clenched her fists and gestured. Zhang Xiaobao chuckled. Our family doesn't lack money. Even if the new provincial governor doesn't have that much money, we can't tear down the house and sell it to him. However, I reckon that even if the new provincial governor takes the initiative to give us money, we can't accept it. Why? Wang Wan asked, puzzled. Because he's afraid of offending people. Do you think the new provincial governor will be as poor as the previous provincial governor? By the time my father leaves, this place will definitely be prosperous. It's just like the Jia County magistrates in Sanshui County. When other officials were willing to go to a place where no one was willing to go, they would break their heads to go there when other officials were done building it. Although Luzhou is far away from the capital, when it's truly prosperous, who would care about that? Stay here for a while and leave after reaping the benefits. It's not like you won't be able to go back for the rest of your life. Zhang Xiaobao felt a little helpless when he said this. There were always people who liked to pick peaches, but he couldn't refuse to give them. This peach was good, but it was not as good as continuing to be promoted. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao mention it, she also understood. The person who came must be very capable. Even if we do him a favor, he wouldn't care about this little bit of money. I'm puzzled. Why are there so many different kinds of abilities? Some people are really capable and specifically look for bad places to build. Some people can't be said to have fake abilities. In any case, they have the ability to get what others have built. Which one do you think is useful? Of course, it's the first type. The first type doesn't need to be afraid of being sent away, and the second type has to pray that his or her family's power will never change, but they also have to constantly worry about the emperor's attitude towards their family. We are the first type. We don't need to be afraid of the emperor, as long as we don't annoy the emperor. I don't think we'll be able to go to the capital even after we've built Luzhou. I hope we can go back to Yaozhou and be the provincial governor there again. My father is still young, and it's better for him to be a high-ranking official. I wonder what Li Longji will do in the future. I don't think it's anything good. Zhang Xiaobao was trying to figure out Li Longji's personality, but he found that there were many times when some people's personalities were constantly changing. Of course, this change was also a kind of personality, but it was too difficult to control. Wang Wan did not care where the Zhang family went. In any case, wherever the Zhang family went, the Wang family would follow. As long as she was around, she would never abandon her family. Her parents were different from Zhang Xiaobao's parents. Even if the final dividends of every business deal went to the Wang family, her parents did not care about the money. It was said that when the Zhang family and the Wang family were doing business, all the money would belong to her and Zhang Xiaobao. Her parents only wanted to show off in front of others. Zhang Xiaobao's parents, on the other hand, had more ambitions. After hearing Zhang Xiaobao's words, Wang Wan came up with two scenarios. I think it can only be from two aspects. The first is a very poor place. Let your father continue to go there and build a prosperous place. The second is a place that is difficult to solve. For example, Zhujiang and Hangzhou. That place has always been a troublesome place. She's too charming. No matter where he goes, it won't be easy. This is also what I want. Only by making more achievements will my father's future be smoother. Let's go to an inn to rest for the night. We'll start work tomorrow. Zhang Xiaobao held Wang Wan's hand and caught up with his father. The group looked for an inn to stay in, preferably one that had a spare courtyard. The next morning, without waiting for others to come to Zhangzhou, 150 of Li Sun's 200 bodyguards were sent out to patrol the streets of the prefectural city with weapons. The Yamen also put up a recruitment notice for the local people to come and work. The Zhang family would pay for it themselves. Even if those 4 people didn't cause trouble, Zhangzhou wouldn't take money from the prefectural city's account to build his own house. The news of the recruitment notice quickly spread to the Yamen of Wulei County. County Magistrate Zhang was preparing to find Zhangzhou and find an opportunity to bribe him. If he succeeded, he would have something to use against Zhangzhou. If he didn't, he would understand Zhangzhou's attitude. After hearing the news, he immediately gathered his 150 bailiffs. A small portion of the bailiffs were recruited locally, but the majority were brought here from other places. He didn't use the local bailiffs this time. Zhangzhou had already bought a lot of people's hearts yesterday. He was afraid that these bailiffs wouldn't do their job seriously, so he only sent his 110 bailiffs out to see which commoner would dare to build a house for him, and personally delivered the warning to each house. Unfortunately, he underestimated Zhang Xiaobao's ruthlessness. As soon as the 110 bailiffs went out, they were discovered by the patrolling guards of the prince's mansion. Sabers were unsheathed, crossbows were loaded, and all of them were captured at a place a little distance away from the county yamen. Precisely speaking, they captured the other 3 bailiffs, while the other 7 were shot dead on the spot. These 7 people had drawn their swords, but they were shot to death as soon as they moved. The other bailiffs didn't dare to move and were tied up one by one. The nearby commoners were all peeking through the cracks of the door. When they saw that the bailiffs who always bullied them were arrested, they suppressed the excitement in their hearts and went out to spread the good news in all directions. Zhang Xiaobao didn't plan to start the construction today. He just wanted to deal with County Magistrate Zhang and at the same time make the lives of the local commoners better. A good life naturally required supplies. This time, the ship brought a lot of goods. At first, he wanted to sell them at a high price, but now it seemed impossible. The commoners didn't have money, so no matter how good the goods were, they couldn't be sold. Zhang Xiaobao could only use another method, which was to give the goods first and collect the money later. This money could be paid in installments, and there was no need to pay interest. He would distribute the goods and buy the things needed for the tribute. These were all good things. For example, shell incense, which was a kind of shellfish in the sea. It could be used as a medicinal ingredient, and it could also be used for beautifying. Another idea was to let the commoners help spread the news and tell other commoners that the new provincial governor would firmly suppress the local county magistrate. This method was very effective. When they saw that the bailiffs were arrested, they ran to the houses of the people they knew or ran directly to the place where the fishing boats were anchored. Fifth Lord, good news, great news. A person who ran to the market said to the old man who was selling fish there, "What? What did you say? Do you think your family can eat that much fish? Buy less." The old man's ears were not very good. The person had no choice but to put his mouth close to the old man's ear and shouted, "Fifth Master, it's good news. The bailiffs have been caught." They were caught by the subordinates of the new official. They even killed 7 people. This time, the old man heard it clearly. He asked in disbelief, "Really? The bailiffs in the county were arrested by the new provincial governor's soldiers? And they even killed people?" The 2 people's voices were not low. The people who were selling nearby heard them and gathered around the 2 people. The person did not care that others were listening. He continued to shout to the old man, "It's true. They were really arrested and killed. Those soldiers were very powerful. They were equipped with crossbows." The 7 bailiffs were just about to draw their swords when they were shot to the ground. With only 1 arrow each, none of them survived. The 7 soldiers who killed them did not even blink. It was as if they were not killing people, but chickens. Good. Someone should have dealt with them long ago. No wonder no bailiffs came to take my fish for free. The new provincial governor is indeed a good official who protects poor people like us. I won't sell my fish anymore. I'll go home and chase the two boys out so they can build a house for the governor." The old man started to pack up his stall while trembling. It was not that he was not feeling well, but that he was excited. When the commoners heard this, they could not suppress the joy in their hearts. Some cried, some laughed to the sky, and some immediately ran home to tell the good news to their families and neighbors. Before they could finish rejoicing, another notice was posted. The notice asked the local people to tell the story of how they had been bullied by the bailiffs. Everything would be decided by the provincial governor. In order to increase the people's confidence, the Zhang family sent out guards. These guards were promoted later. Their fighting power was not as good as the 56 people, but they were armed with weapons and had bows on their backs. This made the commoners feel more relieved. With so many people, would the new provincial governor be afraid of a county magistrate? There were many ethnic minorities here. To be precise, this was where the ethnic minorities lived. The customs here were completely different from other places. If it were in other places, the commoners might be afraid to say anything. But here, such things would definitely not happen. As long as someone was willing to make a decision, they would tell all the bad things that the bailiffs had done. One by one, the people who had been bullied by the bailiffs gathered at the magistrate's office. Because he had sent out his closest subordinates and left 40 local bailiffs behind, Zhang Yi did not receive the news until an hour after it happened. Hearing that 7 of his subordinates had been killed on the spot and the rest had been captured, as well as the matter mentioned in the second notice, Zhang Yi felt his vision go dark and his whole body go numb. It took him quite a while to recover from it. Chapter 4:12. Zhang Zhong, the people from the inner court, and Zhan Shangyun started to get busy. They received the commoners one by one and recorded down what they said. It would be better if there was direct evidence, but it didn't matter if there wasn't. They would spill everything under torture. The 4 judges were also called over by Zhang Zhong to listen. They didn't expect Zhang Zhong to act so quickly. He had only been here for a day, but he had already started to act. It was like a thunderbolt. Where did he find these guards? They even had crossbows. The 4 of them originally wanted to tell Zhang Yi about this matter, but they were stopped and brought here to listen. They listened as the commoners listed out the crimes one by one. They wanted to interrupt the commoners and threaten them, but there were more than a dozen people with a silver-white seedling on their chests standing around, so they didn't dare to do anything. The only way to threaten them was to glare at the commoners who came to complain. These commoners had finally found their backbone, so how could they be afraid of the 4 of them? Not only did they report the contents of their complaints, they even glared back at them. In the end, after they glared back and forth, one of the commoners didn't want to glare back anymore. He spat a mouthful of phlegm on Chao Harue's face. Chao Harue was stunned and immediately went forward to kick him. However, the people from the seedling protection team reached out and grabbed him, causing him to tumble down. Zhang Zhong spoke at this time. "Adjunct Chao, there's no need to be angry with the commoners. If you feel that they have insulted you, you can write a memorial and hand it to me first. I will deal with it as I see fit." Chao Harue knew that he wouldn't be able to gain any advantage at this time. In terms of fighting, any one of the people standing at the side could easily beat the 4 of them. He had heard that these guards with unique markings were Zhang Zhong's personal guards. They were fine even if they jumped from a 40-foot tall ship into the sea. Looking at the expressions on these people's faces, they looked like they were made of wood. These people couldn't be beaten, at least not by the 4 of them. Wiping his face with his sleeve, Chao Harue said to the citizen who came to complain, "You dare to spit on me? I wish your family a long life." "Bah, dog official, I'm telling you, now that there's a new official, don't even think about scaring me. I'll wait for the day when you're dealt with, I'll wait." This person was not afraid of Chao Harue in the slightest. He spat again and cursed. This time, Chao Harue was prepared and did not get spat on his face. However, his clothes did not escape. There was a large piece of yellow phlegm on his clothes, which was disgusting to look at. Left and right, If anyone dares to disturb the court again, slap them on the spot. Zhang Zhong's face darkened as he stared at the commoner below and shouted. The members of the seedling protection team shouted in unison. They knew what the old master meant, which was to slap the four of them. The commoner was not stupid. The words that Chao Harue was about to say were interrupted by the new official. He knew who the new official favored, so he smiled at Chao Harue and continued to speak. Crimes were written down one by one. At the end, there were still people who tortured the remaining bailiffs. The torture method was very simple. Zhang Xiaobao learned it from Xiao Hong. In the past, Xiao Hong commanded the poultry and almost killed those people. This time, there were no poultry, so they used a type of fish that was fished out from the sea. The shark was not considered big, only 5 to 6 feet long. It was kept in a large fish tank made of wood. When the bailiffs were questioned, if they did not say anything, then they would be put into the fish tank. They deliberately found a high platform so that they could see the situation in the fish tank. When the first bailiff was tied up and slowly lowered down, the blood that came out made the other bailiffs choose to compromise. The bailiffs who went down had their ropes cut off when other bailiffs were willing to speak. The screams scared the other bailiffs so much that their legs went soft. At this time, Zhang Yi was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. He wanted to find the 4 judges, but he was told that the 4 of them stayed in the manor. He also wanted to go and take a look, but he was afraid that his subordinates would tell him something and directly arrest him. With no other choice, he left the yamen alone. He didn't dare to wear any official robes. He jogged to the outside of a house, knocked on the door 3 times long and 2 times short, then anxiously paced around in front of the door. It didn't take long for the door to be pulled open from the inside. Zhang Yi jumped in and closed the door behind him. Then, he said to the person who opened the door, "Take me to your master. It's urgent. County Magistrate Zhang, please follow me. Master already knows some things and is waiting for you." The servant who opened the door said in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. He led the way in front. After passing through a few courtyards, when they came to a place, Zhang Yi rushed in front of the tall and thin man and said, "Boss Shen, it's not good. The new provincial governor has made a move. Nothing happened last night, but this morning it changed. My people have been arrested. I don't know what they can say." The tall and thin man looked indifferent and said to Zhang Yi, "County magistrate, don't worry. Indeed, Zhang Zhong made a move early, much earlier than we expected. But so what? He arrested the bailiffs. Even if they give you away, you can deny it. There's no proof. The money we gave you is a gift between friends. Did you take bribes? Have we ever asked you to do anything evil for us? We are just friends. There's nothing else mixed in. Do you understand? Not to mention here, even in the Ministry of Justice of the Imperial Court, it's the same. Even if we see the Emperor, it won't change." Yes, no, not at all. We are just friends. We gave each other some things, including money. Those bailiffs were just talking nonsense. They were forced to confess under torture. They can't be trusted. Then what should we do next? Zhang Yi understood as soon as he heard this. He had to clear himself first. The bailiffs might have been forced to confess. When the time came, he would find 4 judges and jointly submit a report to the court. The tall and thin man nodded with satisfaction. He looked in the direction of the government office and said, "We don't need to do the next step. That Zhang Zhong will definitely come to you personally. He just arrived here and doesn't know anything. Don't be fooled by his methods. In fact, he just wants you to surrender. Since that's the case, then he will come to you and use the bailiff's confessions to force you to submit. This is also a chance. When the time comes, I'll go with you and see what Zhang Zhong has to say. Don't worry, you know who's behind me. Even if the negotiations don't go well, I can still bail you out." "Good, then we'll do as Mr. Shen says. Wait for him to come to me. I'll take you there." Zhang Yi admired this person. He rarely made mistakes in his calculations. Even if there was a slight difference, it was almost the same. It was a pity that they didn't know what kind of opponent they were facing. They also couldn't guess that this opponent wasn't the new provincial governor but the two harmless-looking children beside the provincial governor. Zhang Yi wasn't in a hurry to go back. He stayed here and waited for Zhang Zhong to come to him. In the magistrate's office, Zhang Zhong had already flipped through the bailiff's confessions. When the 102 bailiffs were willing to confess, they were questioned separately. As long as there was a difference, they would continue to be thrown into the shark tank. Not only were they asked what they had done, but they were also asked what others had done. This kind of questioning made the bailiffs not dare to lie. If they said that their crimes were light, who knew if the other bailiffs would tell the truth? Similarly, they didn't mention that their colleagues would cover for them. They couldn't cover for them anyway. Everyone considered the severity of the matter differently. If what they said was different from what others said, they would be thrown into the fish tank again. Zhang Zhong was no longer the person who couldn't tolerate anything when he had just become an official. During this period of time, he had also gotten used to some things. However, when he saw the confessions of these bailiffs, he couldn't help but get angry. Bastards, a bunch of bastards. Look at what they have done. They actually took things for free in the county's market every day. They even forced the fishermen to catch specific fish for them. They even made the fishermen go out to sea in the heavy rain just to get those things that could be offered as a tribute. Many fishermen died at sea. They even rushed into the people's houses to steal things. They are considered smart. They only stole a small part of the things each time and came back the next day. This made the people lose their will to fight to the death. Among them, there are still 31 people who deserve to die. The rest can be locked up for a few years. Zhang Zhong knew that he couldn't solve the problem after scolding for a while, so he turned to look at his son. Zhang Xiaobao also read the confessions. He didn't have any indignant thoughts. He was already used to these things. Wang Wan was also the same. The darkness of the society was still considered bright compared to the bailiffs. Father, since 31 people deserve to die, then immediately behead 31 of them. This kind of thing, you, the provincial governor, can make the decision. Let the rest go back. Since it's not a capital crime, it's a waste of food to lock them up. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and said to his father, "Let them go. Let them go. Won't Zhang Yi have more manpower to use?" "Xiaobao, you can't let them go." Zhang Zhong didn't expect that his son would ask him to let them go. Zhang Xiaobao put down the confessions in his hand and explained to his father, "Father, we can let them go, but not like this. First we let people whip them. As long as they faint once, it's enough. Then, we don't give them food, water, or sleep." He had people continuously ask them whether they would help Zhang Yi in the future and whether they would listen to the provincial governor's orders. As long as they were asleep, he would wake them up and ask them these two questions. He would ask them continuously until the next night. Then, he would let them rest and sleep for a while before letting them go. Chapter 413. Zhang Zhong didn't understand his son's intention, but he still arranged it. Zhang Xiaobao didn't care about this matter anymore. He knew that the reason why Zhang Yi didn't come to apologize was because he still had bargaining chips on him. He wanted to wait for an opportunity to exchange conditions. If it was someone else, they would have already asked someone to find Zhang Yi. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan weren't just anyone. The two of them didn't care about Zhang Yi at all. They just casually made a move. The most important thing was to solve the most important problem, which was the problem of the people's livelihood. The goods on the ship should have been unloaded and transported here. The magistrate office must put out a notice to let the people know that they could get these goods first and then pay for them. If they didn't have money, they could use the things in the sea as a substitute. Especially those good things that could be offered as tribute. There was no need to rush this. They could take it slowly. There was no need to take risks in order to repay quickly. The Zhang family didn't need it, and the Zhang family could afford to pay for it. The third notice came out. After the people saw it, they couldn't believe that it was real. However, when the goods were transported and they were allowed to choose, they had to admit that it wasn't a dream. All the people who bought the goods didn't need to use any collateral. They just needed to leave their fingerprint. Zhang Xiaobao believed in the customs here. The notice clearly stated that the goods could be paid for within a year. If there was a special situation, it could be postponed, but they needed to send someone to check. If nothing happened and the goods were not paid after a year, the person's name would be written on the notice to warn people to be careful of such people. They were all from the same village. If their names were posted, they wouldn't be able to raise their heads in public anymore. This time, the goods prepared were very complete. There were furs, snacks, medicine, cloth, cheap jewelry, and some tools that could be used. As for the purely ornamental goods, forget about it. The people didn't have the consciousness to buy them. Every time the goods arrived at a place, the people would pick and choose. In fact, they were just short of a buffer time, so they had no choice but to sell the things in their hands at a low price under the pressure of life. Now that these goods were not sold at a high price, the value of future goods would also be high. In addition to these, Li Sun also arranged for people to use other identities to lend money. The interest rate was very low. Usually, it was 10 copper coins and 13 copper coins. That was to say, if you lent 10 copper coins and gave 9 copper coins, you would have to return 13 copper coins. Li Sun used 10 copper coins and only 10% interest. Furthermore, it was calculated on a yearly basis, not the usual monthly basis. This immediately lowered the price by a lot. Some of the commoners who had some ideas tried to borrow some, but this required them to pawn their belongings and write a receipt. When the time came, they could still report it to the yamen. The main thing was that Zhang Xiaobao had calculated that there were only about 7,000 people in the entire prefecture. If everyone borrowed money, it would be of great use to one person. Borrowing 3 strings of money would be able to buy a small boat to go to sea. If everyone borrowed money, based on the average of 2 strings of money, it would be no more than 15,000 strings of money. Moreover, when borrowing money, why did they have to mention themselves? If they wanted to seek medical treatment, there was no need. There were ready-made doctors, and they were looking for a place to build a medical center. As long as the medicinal materials were not ginseng or deer antler, ordinary medicine was very cheap, and the cost would be collected. This way, they were not afraid of people who pretended to borrow money and ran away. If you said you wanted to buy a cow to plow the land, then it depended on how much land you had. If you bought a cow, it would be around 7 or 8 strings of money or 10 strings of money. The land and the cow would be used as collateral. Wang Wan also specially asked Zhang Xiaobao what if someone wanted to buy a bigger boat that cost 15 strings of money and capsized. Zhang Xiaobao's answer was very simple. As long as the person was fine, it was fine. It was not really a loan, so who would deliberately capsize the boat? When the time came, if there was really such a bad person, they would work for him. The work would be used to pay off the debt, and they would arrange some good jobs. After they earned money, they would use part of it to pay off the debt and part of it to live. It was impossible not to have any measures of punishment. That would make people feel that there was a loophole to take advantage of. In order to better publicize the benevolence and righteousness of the new provincial governor, all the goods were transported to the prefectural city to be sold. Furthermore, people were sent to the other 3 counties to talk about this matter and let them come over to buy. This way, the local people would tell the people in the other counties about the new provincial governor's actions. The next step is to dry the salt. There must be a lot of behind-the-scenes transactions there. After dealing with the people, we can implement it. This kind of salt trade originally belonged to the local government, which is the provincial government. The reason why they suppressed the provincial governor was to profit from it. It turned out that it was to boil salt. A stone of salt requires more than 400 catties of good firewood. No matter how expensive firewood is, it is not as expensive as salt. A stone of salt can be sold for 600 or 700 copper coins. How much is 400 catties of firewood worth? 5 copper coins? 6 copper coins? There are so many mountains. Just go up the mountain and you can get a lot of firewood. You can't blame someone for taking the risk for nearly 100 times the profit. Zhang Xiaobao sat on the couch of the inn and looked out the window at the crowd that was heading to the place where the goods were sold. He began to plan for the future. When Wang Wan came, she knew that Zhang Xiaobao was preparing to dry the salt. There was very little manpower, and the salt was produced in large amounts and quickly. There was also no need to waste firewood. When that time came, the cost would be even lower. If they used a large ship to transport it, each ship could carry 5 or 6 tons. If they took the road and transported it to places with little or no salt and sold it, they could earn 500 or 600 strings of coins per ship, or even more. If they were willing to pay the local price, it would be easy to earn 1,000 strings of coins. Thinking that if a large amount of salt was sold in the future, it would not be easy to sell salt in other places. Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Aren't you afraid that a large amount of salt will impact the market?" "I'm afraid, but we can't produce so much salt here. It is not possible to turn the seawater into salt by drying it for a few minutes. The production time will affect the output. There are also salt pans. Not all places near the sea can be used as salt pans, unless a large amount of manpower is used to level the ground. Also, it depends on how the wind blows. There's a lot of knowledge involved in this, and I don't know much about it either. After a few tries, I'll know what to do. We'll just use whatever fits our needs. Nowadays, people are still in a situation of salt shortage. It's not like back in our time, when industrial salt production was more convenient." Zhang Xiaobao had already considered this matter. It was not a problem at all. Even if he turned the coastal area into salt pans, it would not be able to meet the demand. Besides, selling salt was not very profitable for him. It would take at least half a year for a ship to go back and forth. Wouldn't it be better to transport something else? Thinking of making money, Zhang Xiaobao suggested to Wang Wan, "Why don't we cultivate pearls? This thing can make money. It can be used as medicine or as an ornament. Just put some things that can't be dissolved into their flesh, and then let them wrap it little by little with body fluid. Finally, the pearls will come out. Dream on. Tell me, what kind of shell should we use? What should we put in? How should we put it? Where and how should we raise it? What are the relevant things that we need to pay attention to? How many years will it take to become a pearl?" When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she knew that he didn't know how to do it. She made up a bunch of nonsense and asked several questions in a row. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head every time she asked a question. He wanted to say that they should put sand in the shell, but when he thought about it, it didn't seem good to wrap sand in a pearl. "Then let's kill a lot of sharks and sell their fins. This thing is good." Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic. "Who should kill them? How? Send them to the sharks to be killed? Can't you think of something that can be implemented?" Wang Wan refuted Zhang Xiaobao again without any mercy. "Then change. Let's get some ducks and release them on the beach." Zhang Xiaobao changed again. The two of them in the room, one of them made a proposal and the other rejected it. They had a long discussion. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could bicker with each other when they had nothing to do, but others couldn't. Zhang Yi had been waiting for a day, but there was still no coal. He was so anxious that he walked back and forth in the place where the businessman surnamed Shen was. He wasn't the only one who was anxious. The businessman surnamed Shen was also anxious. In the past, he had encountered a lot of schemes, and his calculations were relatively accurate. This time, he thought that it was a sure thing, but he was wrong. He thought that Zhang Zhong wanted to deal with the original forces here first. If it was someone else, they would do the same. However, Zhang Zhong seemed to have put this matter aside and concentrated on doing business. It was the kind of business that couldn't maximize the benefits. "Mr. Shen, what do you think Zhang Zhong wants to do? He obviously has the upper hand," but he stopped. "I always feel that things are not so simple. If we wait any longer, it will be easy for something to happen." Zhang Yi walked a few more times. He really couldn't suppress the agitation in his heart, so he stopped and asked, Don't worry. Zhang Zhong must have some difficulties, so he doesn't dare to come to you directly. Could it be that he thought of the relationship between you and me, so he guessed the force behind me? Is he afraid? Wait a little longer. If he still doesn't come to you at this time tomorrow, we will think of a way. Even Boss Shan himself didn't believe the words that he said. Zhang Zhong came so quickly, and his actions weren't slow either. No matter what, he couldn't guess the power behind him. At this time, other than waiting, it seemed that there was no better method. The two of them didn't wait until this time the next day. That night, 71 Yamen runners who were tortured to death came back. Some of them even said while walking, "I don't dare to do bad things for Zhang Yi anymore. I will listen to the provincial governor in the future. I don't dare to." Zhang Xiaobao's method made the Yamen runners who had never encountered it before almost collapse mentally. As long as they thought of what happened last night, they would feel cold all over. When Zhang Yi and Chen Dongjia saw the 71 people, the look in their eyes was different from before. "What's wrong with you? Did they use a big punishment?" Zhang Yi came in front of a Yamen runner and asked. "It's worse than a big punishment. I have seen it. Master, the other 31 brothers are going to be beheaded tomorrow. Don't you want to save them?" The Yamen runner who was asked looked straight ahead when he was speaking. His tone was so flat, which made people feel very uncomfortable. Chapter 4:14. The sun shone warmly. The deep blue sea pushed towards the shore from afar with layers of waves. Then, it turned light blue and became transparent. There were also some white waves that kept crashing onto the beach, leaving behind bubbles that slowly receded. Every time the waves hit the beach, there would be countless tide worms that were brought to the shore by the waves. When the tide receded, some of them were brought away by the sea while others quickly burrowed into the sand. Small crabs did the same. They used the tide to come to the beach and burrowed into the crevices of the reefs. They dug a hole and buried themselves, making small holes on the beach. Seabirds spread their wings and flew in the sky. Occasionally, they swooped down to the sea and picked up a fish that was struggling to twist its body. They sprinkled a string of pearl-like water droplets. The life of the world reproduced in this noisy silence. Reincarnation, 1,000 years, or yesterday, the sea was still as turbulent as before. The fishermen who had long been used to such a life would usually catch some small fish and shrimp near the shore and fry them in a dry pot without adding oil or salt. However, today, there was not a single fisherman in the sea of Wulei County. It was almost noon, and the people in the county all gathered in the direction of the execution field. Although it was called the execution field, it was actually a wasteland. There was no platform or anything like that. However, the people did not care about that. They just wanted to see the result of the people who had hurt them. Some people even brought the memorial tablets of their dead relatives from home and waited quietly, waiting for the time when the yang qi was the most abundant. Zhang Zhong had already led a group of officials here. There was a table in front of them. The people in charge of the execution kept fiddling with things. As they burned incense, they kept muttering. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also came here. They squeezed into the crowd and became bystanders, even if they were the ones who planned this. The executioners today were the members of the Ji Zhuang Protection Team and the Zero Team. 31 people were chosen. No matter how hard they trained, they would always be a little lacking if they had not personally experienced blood. When the 31 bailiffs were brought up, the people around them cheered. No one was sad that the people in front of them were about to lose their lives, because these people had taken the lives of others before. Amidst the cheers, the sound of crying could be heard. The person holding the tablet cried and said something to the tablet. When the 31 people were forced to kneel on the ground, Zhang Yi finally appeared. He was surrounded by the 71 bailiffs who were released yesterday. These bailiffs, who were usually arrogant, did not look like they did today. They looked like shriveled chickens. The Yushan County Magistrate had also arrived with Zhang Yi. He was the only one who had come. Last night, Zhang Yi had sent someone to find him on horseback, hoping that he would be able to stall them for a while. When the time came, the two county magistrates could work together to pressure Zhang Zhong. Unexpectedly, the Yushan County Magistrate was already on his way to Wulei County. Otherwise, he would not have arrived at this time. Nian Wanjiu only brought 10 bailiffs with him. He had rushed over for other matters. When he found out that Zhang Zhong was going to kill people, he agreed to oppose with Zhang Yi and save the people. When the two of them arrived, the preparations were almost done. Zhang Yi looked at the bailiffs beside him, then looked at the 200 people with crossbows. He suppressed the idea of breaking in and shouted at Zhang Zhong, "Provincial governor, please wait. I have something to say." Zhang Yi's voice made the people around him tremble. They looked at the county magistrate, who also wanted to kill him, and then looked at Zhang Zhong. "It's already noon. Start the execution. If anyone tries to stop you, kill them." Zhang Zhong did not pay attention to Zhang Yi and directly gave the order. The purpose of this was simple. The people who were released yesterday would leave a shadow in their hearts. Even if they came today, they would not be of much use. Zhang Yi had to come. Otherwise, who would dare to work with him in the future? But it was useless even if they came. He wanted to let everyone know that they followed Zhang Yi because he did not have the ability to help them at critical moments. The 200 guards with crossbows in their hands shouted in unison, "Kill!" Looking at the people who unsheathed their swords and loaded their crossbows, Zhang Yi did not know what to do. He gave Nian Wanjiu a look. Just as Nian Wanjiu was about to speak, a guard on the other side turned his crossbow over. Nian Wanjiu swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth. His life was more important. Who knew if they would shoot it? With a slight delay, the 31 people in the execution field dropped their swords. Among them, 30 people were relatively good. Only one person stretched a little when he used his strength. In the end, his head was not chopped off. This person trembled and was a little scared. But when he thought of what the young lady said, cowards should return to the inner court to do chores. Thinking of this person raised his sword and aimed at the place where he had just chopped. No matter how much blood spurted out, he chopped down again. With a thump, this person's head was finally chopped off. 31 people were killed. The surrounding people were silent at first. Then, some people began to cry. They held the memorial tablets and came to the execution field. They knelt there and kowtowed to the memorial tablets. After kowtowing, they turned to Zhang Zhong's direction and kowtowed to him. With this group of people taking the lead, the others who did not hold the memorial tablets also knelt down and kowtowed to Zhang Zhong. No matter how Zhang Zhong asked them to get up, these people did not get up. Just as Zhang Zhong was about to go down and persuade them personally, he turned his head and saw that Zhang Yi had already turned around and was walking back with Nian Wanjiu. He immediately shouted, "Stop right there, Wulei County's county magistrate Zhang Yi. You told me that you had something to do just now. Why are you leaving now? Are you playing with me? Men, take him away." This shout was indeed effective. The commoners stopped kowtowing and the crying people also stopped. They turned their heads to look at Zhang Yi. They slowly stood up, wanting to know what the provincial governor wanted to do. Zhang Yi was too busy being angry. He did not expect Zhang Zhong to find trouble with him at this time. He cursed in his heart. How could Zhang Zhong not know what he was going to say? He had already killed people, and he was still asking him? Thinking like this, Zhang Yi couldn't say it out loud. Seeing people rushing over, he hurriedly shouted to Zhang Zhong, "Darren, this official was scared just now and forgot about it." After hearing Darren's shout, this official remembered. "I asked Darren to forgive me." Even if Zhang Yi was unwilling to accept this, he had to admit defeat at this time. He realized that he could not see through Zhang Zhong. After coming here, how was he like the other officials when they were appointed? Usually, when one became an official in a new place, there were only 3 situations. The first was to know the local officials and get along well with them. The second was to have ambition. First, they would show weakness and find an opportunity to make a comeback. They might succeed, but they might not. The third was to call the officials under them over and give them a lecture, thinking that everything would be fine. This kind of person would usually come with glory and leave with their tails between their legs. However, Zhang Zhong was neither of these. When he came, he acted like he was doing official business. He did not hide his actions at all. The first day he arrived, The next day he killed people and captured people. In just 3 days, 39 lives were lost. However, he asked about the specific matters in the manner: capturing people, killing people, releasing goods and lending money. What did he want to do? Zhang Yi really could not think of anything. However, he knew that this Zhang Zhong was definitely a person who killed people without batting an eyelid. He could not anger him. Even if he killed him, he would be investigated by the imperial court. However, if he lost his life, would it matter if he was investigated or not? Zhang Yi thought quickly. He only used a few breaths of time to think it through. When the surrounding commoners saw that Zhang Yi, who had bullied Provincial Governor Shi, had given in, they cheered and cursed. Zhang Zhong did not stop them. He let Zhang Yi feel the anger of the commoners. With him around, Zhang Yi did not dare to talk back. He also did not dare to stand up, and he did not dare to leave. The commoners cursed for a while before gradually calming down. They moved to the back and made space for Zhang Yi to stand in front of Zhang Zhong. They waited for Zhang Zhong to deal with Zhang Yi. The commoners finally found their backbone. The new official had only been here for a little more than 3 days, but he had already done a lot of good things. The commoners knew clearly that the new official had something to do with the new official. Otherwise, why would they wait for him to come? Especially the loan. The annual interest was only 10%. It was almost the same as borrowing for free. Zhang Yi walked towards Zhang Zhong first. He did not dare to leave for a long time. He followed behind. The cursing just now also affected him. The two of them were in a very bad mood. However, they had no choice but to squeeze out a smile on their faces. Didn't you see that the 4 judges who usually cooperated well with them were sitting there obediently and giving them looks? Zhang Zhong put on airs and sat there. He did not look at Zhang Yi. Instead, he looked in front of him. Zhang Yi endured the sullenness in his heart. He came forward and bowed. "Provincial Governor, this official has something to say." "Speak." Zhang Zhong lifted his eyelids and uttered a word in a drawn-out voice. "Yes, Your Excellency. I came here to find you because I want to ask what should we do when the rain gets heavier in 2 days." Zhang Yi casually picked a topic to ask. Zhang Zhong noticed that after hearing Zhang Yi's words, the commoners also quietened down. They seemed to be waiting for him to say a solution. He thought for a while and asked, "What did you do in the past?" "In the past, under the leadership of Sir Shi, we worked hard to improve the irrigation system. We diverted the water from the mountain and the water from the rain into the sea. However, because the magistrate lacked money, we could not do it all. The results were very little." Zhang Yi explained and pushed the responsibility to the previous provincial governor. "Oh, the magistrate lacked money? I wonder if there is money in the county? When I came here the day before yesterday, I passed by the county magistrate's office." "Zhang Yi, your house was built quite well," Zhang Zhong said lightly. Zhang Yi's heart skipped a beat. He secretly thought that Zhang Zhong did mention this matter. Fortunately, he already had an explanation. "Sir, the money did not come from the county magistrate's office. It was a gift from this official's friend." "County Magistrate Zhang Yi, you have such a friend? Call him over and let me see him one day." Zhang Zhong just happened to have this plan. He wanted to find the person behind this. Otherwise, it would be useless to just deal with the county magistrate. If you want to see him, this official will naturally find him. Why don't we meet tonight? Zhang Yi also found an opportunity. Chapter 4:15. Zhang Yi was finally released. Nian Wanzhou used the same reason. There might be a flood in Yushan district, so he was also released. Zhang Zhong did not have the time to deal with these 2 people, especially Nian Wanzhou. There was no evidence of his crimes, so Zhang Yi would not do anything to him now. The people who came to complain the other day did not only complain about the bailiffs, but also about Zhang Yi and the other officials in Wulei district. When the people's affairs were more or less settled, he would get rid of the people behind this and then deal with them. The 2 county magistrates were released, and the people were slightly disappointed. They thought that they could take the opportunity to kill the 2 magistrates. There were smart people among the people, and they knew that the new high-ranking official had his own considerations, so they told the people who did not understand. The people who did not understand still did not understand, but they knew that the new provincial governor was a good official. With the provincial governor around, they would not be bullied by the district in the future. Zhang Zhong and the other officials returned to the manor first, leaving the members of Team Zero to clean up the execution ground. There was no rain, and there was no snow. They fetched water to wash the blood away, and did not put the dead people outside for others to see. They dug holes and buried them to avoid attracting mosquitoes and flies. The people dispersed, and all of them were in a good mood. Those who bought goods and borrowed money prepared to go back and eat something good to celebrate. Those who set up the stalls lowered the price of the goods so that they could sell them earlier and go back home. Those who opened the shop also added more food for their shop assistants or themselves. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also prepared good things for the 56 people. They brought frozen beef from home and were not very particular about the steak. They were very casual when choosing the meat. It was not that Zhang Xiaobao did not know about steak. He was very familiar with this aspect in his past life, but the conditions did not allow it. After all, it was medium rare. After it was cut open, there were still traces of blood. Zhang Xiaobao did not like to eat it. He liked to eat well done, and he was often criticized for having no taste. The main reason was that after the chef he hired in the past finished cooking, he would use a knife to cut it open and sprinkle cumin and chili powder on it. This time, in order to celebrate the success of the seedling protection team, she cooperated with Wang Wan to make some. She even specially prepared grape wine to accompany the 56 people to eat. It was the first time that the members of Team Zero of the vigorous protection team had killed someone. Those who did not kill were responsible for collecting the body and cleaning up the bloodstains. When they killed someone, they only felt their heart palpitate. However, when they smelled the blood, they felt a little disgusted. When the 56 of them returned to the inn, they first soaked their blood-stained clothes in water. There was a specialized person in charge of washing them. After that, they took a good bath themselves. Only then did they change their clothes and go to the courtyard. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already prepared the ingredients. As soon as everyone arrived, they began to quickly cook. With more than a dozen frying pans cooking at the same time, they were able to make nearly 30 servings in one go. 2 frying pans were enough for everyone to eat. There was no need to be too particular. Medium rare was the standard. The 56 of them sat there and waited obediently. It was not the first time that they had eaten the food cooked by the young master and the young lady. In the past, they had eaten well and were looking forward to this time. Looking at the knives and forks on the table, everyone understood that it was the strange way of eating without using chopsticks. They were familiar with this and used it more smoothly. Soon, the first pot was ready and served to the table one by one. The 56 of them had never eaten beef cooked in this way. They had just killed someone and it was so bloody. They felt a little disgusted. However, the meat was edible. There was also grape wine beside it. This was not the cheap wine that they usually drank. A big bowl of it cost 200 copper coins. After a while, the second pot was ready. Each of them had a serving. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also had a serving in front of them. First of all, this thing is hot. You have to be careful when you eat it. Another very important thing is that no matter what you find later, you are not allowed to show any expression of discomfort on your face, and you are not allowed to spit out anything. Otherwise, before eating, Wang Wan told the 56 of them. Otherwise, they would have to explain it to them. Everyone understood. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan started eating first. From the outside, the meat didn't look like much. After they cut it open, blood started to seep out. Because it was frozen beef, there was a lot of blood. Zhang Xiaobao used a knife to cut off a piece and stuffed it into his mouth. Zhang Xiaobao chewed it carefully and drank a mouthful of wine. He told Wang Wan, "It's edible." "I know. It can be eaten even if it is fried into ashes. Xiao Bao, look at the traces of blood. How beautiful! It reminds me of the blood that spurted out from the neck cavity when we killed people. It was so red and so bright. Drinking this wine is like drinking their blood. Eating this meat is like eating their meat. Wang Wan said while eating. Her hands moved very accurately. Little young master, little lady, can we change the wine? This wine is too expensive. The distilled wine that we usually drink is pretty good. A team member saw the traces of blood in the cut meat and listened to the little lady's words. He tried to keep his expression natural and carefully asked, "You want to drink strong wine? Do you want to drink deer antler blood wine or snake blood wine?" Zhang Xiaobao asked with a serious face. "No need, little young master. This is fine. We will eat immediately." This person was shocked. He was afraid that the little lady was afraid of being tired. He was afraid that the little young master was not satisfied with what they did. The little young master was rarely angry with them, but he did not think that being angry meant that he was ready to give up. These people carried supreme glory. If they were kicked out of the team, they would not be able to live anymore. They would die of shame. The 56 people did not dare to say more. They ate according to Wang Wan's request. The meat with traces of blood was indeed disgusting. If it was a normal person, they could bear it. However, they had just killed someone. The unwillingness and hatred of the person before death seemed to be right in front of them. The blood that was sprayed out seemed to be right next to them. Wang Wan stopped when she was halfway through eating. Isn't it just killing a person? What's there to feel bad about? Those people deserved to die. Just beheading them is already letting them off lightly. Some should be cut into pieces. When they take the life of others, will they also not be able to eat? Don't think too much. Put your mind on the food. Try it and see if it tastes good. After Wang Wan finished speaking, everyone felt a little better. The steak that was served at the beginning had already turned cold because they ate slowly. However, these people still ate it into their stomachs and drank the wine. Under the influence of alcohol, they were a little more willing to face the matter of killing people. After eating, they rested for a while. The 56 people continued to train. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to arrange other things. Since they had moved to Luzhou, they would not be able to leave for some time. The sand table game had to be arranged for people to check the terrain. This had to be persevered. It had nothing to do with how much money they could make. The main thing was the military map, the local specialties, and the minerals that they found by chance. Other than that, they had to do business. If they wanted to open a restaurant, they could not just open a place. There were so many ingredients from the sea. It would be a pity if they did not make good use of them. Also, when this place became prosperous in the future, there would be many people coming and going. If they did not occupy a place, it would be difficult for them to occupy a place. Xiao Bao, how did we come here this time? With your father's official position, we don't need to spend money to occupy a place. Wang Wan held a holder with a piece of silk cloth on it in one hand. With the other hand, she threaded a needle back and forth. While threading, she talked to Zhang Xiaobao. Wang Wan planned to learn embroidery. In the past, she liked to do cross-stitch when she was free. Now, she had to learn embroidery when she moved here. She knew that women could no longer be officials at this time. She had to find a way to change her profession. The clothes of the people here were usually made by their own families. The richer the family, the better the women were. If they spent money to make clothes outside, they would be laughed at. She wanted to learn embroidery first. Then, she would open a ready-to-wear shop here and find a few good hands to make clothes for others. As long as she learned the general steps, she could design clothes according to the style of that time. She felt that it would not be a problem for her to learn with her IQ. She had once discussed with Zhang Xiaobao about what Tang clothing was. Later, she found that the clothes worn by the people of the Tang Dynasty were Tang clothing. The clothes that appeared with the mentality of accepting people from all walks of life were Tang clothing. There were all kinds of clothes in Chong and city. This made her mind active. She felt that it was not impossible to set up a large clothing group. She could even make some jewelry. Now that there were few people wearing earrings and rings, she could slowly guide others to wear them. Then, she would have many ideas to design. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan, who was embroidering and was in a daze. After a while he said, "Actually, I know how to knit sweaters. I'm asking you how to do business." Wang Wan waited for a while. She did not expect to hear such a sentence, so she asked, "Oh, it's easy to do business. Later, find a 3-star mail manager and let him do it. Now, we just lack a little basic power. We can provide the power, but we can't only rely on us to open a shop. It's a state. Do you remember what was written in the history books in the past? I read a little, and it left a deep impression on me. At that time, people did not work for their own families. Everyone gathered together and calculated the money according to the share. Later, this method did not work, and people became poorer and poorer, so they separated. But not many years later, just a few decades later, people gathered together again. When the production resources were distributed, those who gathered together got a smaller proportion, but the actual amount of resources was more than before. Later, I thought about it. The first one is a political management method, and the latter one is a business management method. Zhang Xiaobao began to talk about the production model with Wang Wan. Wang Wan nodded after listening. Then, you are going to use the business management method here? Yes, we will use this method to unite the local small businesses. We will take the lead, and they will put in more effort. We will go out. If the land route is not easy, we will use boats. We will let them transport the goods here to sell outside. Those who do the same business will form a trading company. Many trading companies will form a business management committee. Then, they will share the shares of each other. This way, it will be difficult for others to make a move. When our own people manage, they can also think about how to ensure their own interests. Under this method, ensuring our own interests is ensuring everyone's interests. It is the same for the fishermen. We will organize a fleet, reasonably allocate the sea area, and let the fishermen join in. This way we can catch more fish. Zhang Xiaobao was more relaxed in this aspect. There were so many models to choose from. It was just a matter of adjusting the details to fit the situation here. Chapter 4:16. Zhang Xiaobao took out the plan and began to discuss the details with Wang Wan. They discussed how to share the shares, how to distribute the benefits, what kind of people to choose for management, how to cooperate with each other, and how to transport the goods in the future. Apart from sending the goods to more remote places, they would basically be transported by water. The two of them discussed until the evening. Zhang Xiaobao listed many previous cases and finally came up with a plan. The details were not as confusing as before, and the people here did not need those restrictions. If someone really did it in the future, they would add on. They found a 3-star manager and talked to him for more than 2 hours. They told him to bring people to contact the local merchants tomorrow morning. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan then remembered that Zhang Zhong had already contacted the people over there. The 2-story Hai Tao Pavilion could be considered the best restaurant in the province. It was located in the prefectural city. If you walked along the widest street in front of the prefectural city, you would be able to see the building after walking for more than 1,000 steps. At this time, Zhang Zhong was sitting in a room on the 2nd floor of the restaurant that was separated by a screen. When Zhang Zhong saw the screen, he shook his head. The restaurant did not think about it carefully enough. There was actually only a space separated by a screen and not a separate room. His family's restaurant had a special place for people to talk about secret matters. Not only was there a separate room, but there were also 2 floors around the room. The middle was empty, and some linen was stuffed in to prevent noise. When Zhang Zhong arrived, there were already 3 people waiting in the room. One was Zhang Yi, the other was Nian Wanjiu, who did not want to come, but had no choice but to. As for the last person, Zhang Zhong had not seen him with his own eyes, but he knew this person. This was all thanks to his son. Whether it was Zhang Xiaobao or Wang Wan, they they both knew the importance of information. When they arrived at this place, the first thing they had to do was to spread the information out. If they did not know anything, they could ask the local people or the local gangsters. These people were well informed. As long as the people approved of the officials, they were on the same side. As long as the people scolded the officials, they should be dealt with. There was no need to send special investigators to the government to understand. They just needed to listen to the people. Zhang Zhong knew that this person's surname was Shen, and his name was Shen Guifu. It was a very ordinary name, but what this person did was not ordinary. He divided the salt pans that were supposed to be managed by the prefecture. One for Zhang Yi, one for Nian Wanjiu, and one for himself. Chen Wanjiu was the one who got the least money. He was also a little afraid of Zhang Zhong. He did not dare to say anything. Zhang Yi had just said it, so it was not good to continue. Shen Guifu could only smile and pick up the teacup on the table. He said to Zhang Zhong, "I have long heard of Sir's reputation. Sir loves the people like your own children. When you were in Sanshui County, your family started a business. You also helped the Yamen of Sanshui County to give the Yamen runners a salary. When you arrived at Huayuan County, it was even more amazing. I did not expect to meet Sir here. Sir, the wine and dishes have not been served yet. I will use tea instead of wine to toast you. I think that after Sir comes here, the local people will have a good life." Shen Guifu held the bowl and waited there. He thought that after hearing what he said, Zhang Zhong would feel uncertain. He would say a few words of kindness and drink a bowl of tea with him. In this way, he would be easier to talk to in front of Zhang Yi and Chen Wanjiu. Unexpectedly, after waiting for a while, Zhang Zhong just looked at him with a cold smile. He did not have the intention to pick up the bowl. This made him feel awkward. He asked, "Sir, what are you?" "What am I?" "Shen Guifu, you are just a small businessman. I am a fourth-rank official in the imperial court. There are many people who want to respect me. Do you think I will give face to anyone? You dared to show off the news you received 2 hours ago. Your family in Kaifeng is not planning to live anymore?" Zhang Zhong's voice was not loud, but it was like thunder in Shen Guifu's ears. He had just received the news. How did Zhang Zhong know? It seemed that he knew a lot of things. He even knew where his family lived. What else did he know? "Sir, I don't mean anything else. Sir, you don't know. I also do things for others." Shen Guifu changed his previous calmness and wisdom. His hand holding the bowl trembled. The water in the bowl spilled out, but he did not dare to put it down. He said to offer tea, but others did not drink it. He did not say that he should be disrespectful. If he put it down, it would be disrespectful. If he put it down, it would be easy to lose the lives of his family members. He wanted to remind Zhang Zhong and let Zhang Zhong know that his background was not simple. Zhang Zhong and Nian Wanjiu could not express how regretful they were now. From Zhang Zhong's words, they knew that Zhang Zhong was not ordinary. When they heard Zhang Zhong talk about his family, they did not believe it. Now they had to believe it. Zhang Yi signaled Nian Wanjiu with his eyes. Wei Wei shook his head. He did not want to stand out now. Zhang Yi had no choice but to speak up himself. "Provincial governor, there are some things you don't know. Brother Shen, sometimes we are forced to do things." "Forced? You were forced to rob the salt pans in the province." "Then, I will write a memorial and ask the emperor. Which dragon son forced Shen Guifu to do this? Which dragon son forced him to join forces with Lu Zhou's men to suppress provincial governor Shi? The emperor has so many dragon sons. I'm sure one of them will stand out, right?" Zhang Zhong was confident of his victory. There was a hint of arrogance in his tone. At this moment, Shen Guifu could no longer hold the teacup in his hand. It fell onto the table with a splash. He did not seem to notice that the water had scalded him. When they heard the commotion, 2 workers immediately rushed in. They looked at Zhang Zhong first. When they saw that Zhang Zhong was fine, one of them asked. "What can I do for you, sir?" When the 4 people in the room saw the 2 workers, they were stunned. The 2 workers were not the same one from before. Their clothes were clean and tidy. One of them had a handkerchief on his shoulder and the other on his forearm. They looked energetic as they stood there. They made people feel comfortable just by looking at them. The most important thing was that there was a rice sprout embroidered on their chests. It was a very cute rice sprout. "You too?" Zhong did not know what to feel. He pointed at the 2 workers and asked, "Master, Between the Clouds and the Water has bought Ocean Wave Pavilion. From now on, Ocean Wave Pavilion will belong to Between the Clouds and the Water. My brother and I are workers who have just been transferred over from the shop in Hangzhou. We've just arrived. The same goes for the manager and the master." "Master, do you want to eat here?" one of the workers answered respectfully to Zhong Zhong. Zhong Zhong nodded with a smile. "Yes, the food cooked by my family is very comfortable. The 3 of you should have a taste as well." Zhong Zhong did not need to ask to know that this was arranged by his son. The so-called manager was Zhang Liang, and the master was naturally the original head chef of Between the Clouds and the Water, Master Ni. He was used to the dishes cooked by Master Ni. His son had even thought about this. He could not blame his son and daughter-in-law for not knowing. The 2 little guys had calculated too many things. If others wanted to know clearly, they would be exhausted just by listening. The most surprised one was Zhang Yi. He opened his eyes wide and looked at the 2 workers. "When was it sold? Why didn't I know about it?" In reply to County Magistrate Zhang, "It was sold the day before yesterday. Your distant relative may not have told you. We came a little late and encountered a big storm. We have to go back and explain. We just arrived today and took over the shop." The worker replied in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. "How is that possible? Who told him to sell it? He dares to make the decision under his name?" Zhang Yi shouted loudly. He forgot that there was a provincial governor here. Chapter 417. Zhong Zhong also learned about this. In his mind, Zhang Yi must die. At that time, the owner of this restaurant was forced to jump from the roof of the 2nd floor. He broke many bones and later died. Zhang Yi didn't know that Zhong Zhong wanted to kill him. He thought that Zhong Zhong was happy and cooperated with them because the restaurant was bought. Shen Guifu didn't have such a good idea. He knew Zhong Zhong's character from the letter he sent. He was not so clean and had killed people. Thinking of what Zhong Zhong had done before, he reached into his pocket with his trembling hand and took out a string of coins. There were about 10 pieces. He put them on the table and said to Zhong Zhong, "My lord, this is 6,000 strings of coins. I wanted to make a big profit and buy the things you transported on your ship. Unfortunately, you came before I could buy them. Take this 6,000 strings of coins. I'll leave Luzhou tomorrow, no, today and never come back. My lord, what do you think?" Zhong Zhong glanced at the flying money on the table. The top one was 500 strings of coins. If that was the case, then 6,000 strings of coins should be 12. If it was someone else, they might be tempted, but he smiled. "Shen Guifu, do you want to leave now? It's too late. Since you got the news, you naturally know how much money my family has. 6,000 strings of coins is too much. I'll take this money and use it to do something for the people. When the time comes, I'll give you a quick death. Men, arrest these 3 people for me." Following Zhong Zhong's order, the screen was suddenly kicked down. 20 people rushed out from the other side. A flash of saber light flashed, and the 3 people sitting at the same table with Zhong Zhong were all detained. "My lord, I don't want to die. Please spare my life." Zhang Yi suddenly climbed up, but he didn't dare to really climb to the ground. The saber was still on his neck. "Many people don't want to die, but they were killed by you." Zhong Zhong picked up the flying money on the table, sighed, and said in a very soft tone. Zhang Yi did not dare to struggle, but he could open his mouth. He unwillingly asked, "Sir, those people were in trouble before you came. It has nothing to do with you. Can't you just let it go this time? At this time, Nian Wanjiu also shouted, Sir, let's put the past behind us. At least when you came, nothing happened here. Why do you have to offend people? Even if you kill us, can you bring the dead back to life? My lord, you don't think that only Shan Guifu is capable of turning our province into this, do you? Sir, as long as you let me go, I will tell you. Even if I don't let you go, you still have to tell me. I don't believe that you can hide anything from me under the great torture. Indeed, I have nothing to do with those people who died, but I want you all to die. The reason is because you all turned around without saying anything to me after arriving at the execution field. Zhang Zhong did not give the three people any chance at all. It was useless to say anything. My lord, not saying anything counts as a reason? Nian Wanjiu unwillingly asked. Yes, this is my reason, Zhang Zhong replied straightforwardly. At this time, Shen Guifu saw that there was no chance for him to live, so he asked in resignation, Governor Zhang, can you tell me how you know about me? And how did you know that I received the news 2 hours ago? Zhang Zhong thought for a moment and nodded, Fine, I'll let you know why you died. You and that person usually transmit information very slowly. He did not dare to use the military and official methods to transmit information for fear of being discovered. Therefore, when he collected information and transmitted it, he used another method, which is the express delivery. In Yaozhou, no matter what the news is, it will arrive within a day, regardless of wind or rain. After leaving there, it is a 2-man, 6-horse race. After reaching the official stop, as long as you spend some money, you can get supplies. It can be said that they travel day and night. An hour before you received the news, they had already arrived. Ah! Could it be that they were detained when they arrived at the official stop? Shen Guifu continued to ask. No, why would I be detained? The information you got was too simple and crude. It didn't even mention that I was the owner of the EMS. It seems like you guys didn't do a good job of gathering information. You guys used the EMS to find out about me and then used them to send information. If I didn't know, what would I need them for? Zhang Zhong did not care whether the three people knew or not. The three of them would definitely be killed. As for the worry of Nian Wanjiu pretending to be mysterious, he did not care. As the governor of a province, it was impossible for anyone to think about it. There were only so many things here. The output of the tribute and the salt were also there. If someone really wanted to get involved, it would be for this little thing. Those with little ability would be dealt with one by one. Those with great ability would not care about it and would just throw it to the guards of the prince's mansion. Zhang Zhong, you have to think carefully. You do not have the right to kill us 2 county magistrates. You can only think about reporting it. When the higher-ups send people to investigate, we will tell them about your express delivery. Let's see what you will do in the future. Zhang Yi's mind turned quickly. He immediately thought of a new method of blackmail. Zhang Zhong did not care at all and walked out. One of the 3 people said to Zhang Yi, Master did not plan to kill you. It rained heavily and caused a flood. Wulei County Magistrate Zhang Yi, Yushan County Magistrate Nian Wanjiu, and Shen Guifu, who came to do business, were guarding the most important place. In the end, they were unfortunately washed away by the flood. No, I do not want to die. I have something to tell Master. Brother, help me pass a message. I will give you 100 strings of coins. Nian Wanjiu was scared. The little bit of hope he had just now had disappeared. The person holding him shook his head. If you gave me that before, I would have dared to accept it. But now, no matter how much you give me, it is useless. You have money but not life to spend it. Let's go. Tell me what you know and I will give you a quick death. Zhang Zhong quickly solved the matter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to worry. They are too bold. Isn't it enough to only use the express delivery in the state? Why did they accept the business here? What if something happens midway? Who can bear the responsibility? Zhang Xiaobao had just received the news not long ago. He was happy that the news came in time. He was also worried that they had gone too far. There was no unified maintenance channel here. At the very least, they had to wait for the game store to open up everywhere. It would be best if the restaurant also opened up branches. At that time, they would not have to rely on the official rest stop, the hotel, or the game store to provide their own horses and food to form their own information transmission network. Xiao Bao, are you afraid that the news will be leaked? Wang Wan thought about the speed of the person who came. The county magistrate of Yaozhou did not dare to use military horses. Otherwise, it would be the fastest speed for an emergency report. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. I am not afraid of the news being leaked. I am afraid that Li Longji will not be willing to accept the news. If we use his official rest stop to send the letter, what if he also wants to use it? Won't we not have enough horses? The most important thing is that he did not get any benefits. We can't let the person who came to send the letter back. Mobilize the family's money and open hotels in various places. It doesn't matter if they are small. Buy good horses and ask them to wait for a while. After the arrangements are done, we will accept the business from other places. It is not easy at all. Who do you think can think of so many things before doing something? In fact, the most important thing to solve is the communication system. If there is a radio, it will not be so troublesome. If we want to send a message, we can just send a telegram. How does that thing work? Wang Wan suddenly thought of the slow transmission of information. They actually had to use horses to transmit information. How fast could a horse run? How long can a horse run? It is better to fly a kite with the wind. After cutting the string, the kite can float for dozens of miles in a breath if the weather is good. Flying a kite. Xiao Bao, why don't we raise some pigeons? In the future, we can use pigeons to send messages. If we can pull a few hundred pigeons from the pigeon's house to other places, we can fly them a few hundred times. If others can tame them, we can also try. Wang Wan suddenly thought of a method to send messages over long distances and said to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao actually had this idea long ago, but he does not know how to do it. When he heard Wang Wan mention it, he said, but we don't know how to do it. Otherwise, we can ask others to see who knows how to do it. Sleep first. Tomorrow morning, we will go out for a walk. There are many strange people. I think that is fine. I think that old man who helped your father is more powerful. Ask him where he is tomorrow. Wang Wan pulled a thin blanket over her navel and slept next to Zhang Xiaobao. After sleeping for a while, she suddenly said, Xiaobao, why are you so cold? You are not afraid of the heat anymore. Who knows? Go to sleep. Zhang Xiaobao muttered and moved to the side and fell asleep again. Zhang Zhong came back. He wanted to see his son, but he heard that his son was asleep. He could only go back to Jiang Wang clan and tell them what happened just now. He also praised his son and daughter-in-law. The next morning, Zhang Zhong went to find Zhang Yi and Nian Wanzhou. He believed that after a night of interrogation, they should be able to get some information. Master, you're here. Zhang Yi told you what he knew, but Nian Wanzhou refused to open his mouth. He kept muttering, I can't say. If I say, I'll die. If I don't say, I'll die. I really couldn't pry open his mouth. As soon as the guards saw Zhang Zhong, they came forward to report. It seems that we have met a tough bone. Let them go first. Don't let them die. Now is not the time to die. As long as they don't interfere with what I am doing, it will be fine. When I am done, I will send them to the capital. Zhang Zhong did not expect Nian Wanzhou to be so stubborn. Since he did not want to say anything, it was fine. Master, you are not going to kill them? This person thought that Zhang Zhong was going to kill them. Zhang Zhong waved his hand. A country has its own laws and a family has its own rules. They should not be killed by me. Why should I kill them? Even if they are sent to the capital, they have the ability to ask the court to let them go. That is the court's business. I can't just casually kill them. If I kill them, I will not be able to control them in the future. If I kill someone who should not be killed, won't I regret it for the rest of my life? Master is right. If you kill them, you may be wrongly accused. Master, do you still want to go in and take a look? This person respectfully said. Chapter 4:18. When Zhang Zhong went to work, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not stay idle. They took more than 20 guards and went out for a stroll. The two of them did not want to suddenly encounter any danger when they were walking outside. Places that were easy to encounter danger, such as the mountains, were absolutely not to go. They wandered around the county, especially places where there might be people who raised birds, such as the market. If there was anyone who raised pigeons, they would have to ask carefully. The two of them strolled slowly. There were indeed quite a few people in the market, but most of them were selling things. If they couldn't sell anything, they would barter. The goods they sold weren't anything good, they were all daily necessities. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walked for more than 100 feet, but they didn't see anything that caught their eye. There was no trace of people who sold birds. Not to mention birds, even those who sold flowers, fish, and insects could not be seen. This is the effect of not having money. It has made people put away some of their playful mood. The only thing they can do is to think of ways to work more and then eat their fill. It is really too pitiful. Wang Wan looked at the clothes that the people around were wearing. She did not see many new clothes. The so-called new clothes were not patched. Even the people in the shop could not do this. Even the people in the shop were wearing patched clothes. It will get better, as long as they do not lose hope in their hearts. I guess the people in the shop are deliberately wearing torn clothes. Let's go, there is a shop selling the 4 treasures of the study in front of us. Let's go inside and ask. Zhang Xiaobao pulled Wang Wan forward under the protection of a group of guards. When they arrived at the door of the shop, the person inside was standing near the door and looking outside. Do you have anything good to sell here? Zhang Xiaobao asked. What good things? If you think it is good, then it is good. If you think it is not good, then it is not good even if I exaggerate. The man standing at the door said politely. At the same time, he kept looking at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He also liked children, especially cute ones like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan entered the store and looked at the items. They found that there was indeed nothing good, so they believed the man's words. Wang Wan curiously looked around the shop and asked, Are you a waiter here? Buddy, I don't have the money to hire a waiter. I only have enough food to eat. If I hire another waiter, both me and the waiter will starve to death, the man said helplessly. Oh, so that's how it is. Then why are there so many patches on your clothes? I see that some of the patches don't seem to be places that can be rubbed off normally. Wang Wan pointed at the man's clothes and asked. The man looked at Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao warily and couldn't answer for a while. Zhang Xiaobao seemed to understand something and said to the man, My name is Zhang Xiaobao. I am the son of the new provincial governor. You don't have to be afraid. After Zhang Xiaobao's words, the man immediately let out a sigh of relief. He waved his hand and signaled for Zhang Xiaobao and the others to follow him. He turned around a door that led inside and passed through a corridor. He led the group of people to the outside of a room. If I knew you were the young master, I wouldn't have been afraid. To be honest, these patches were specially sewn on. Otherwise, if the bailiffs of the county saw them, they would think that there is still money to be made in my shop. It is the same for other shops. Some ordinary people with slightly better families also wear patched clothes when they go out. Usually, the things sold in the shop and the stalls outside are all ordinary goods. They definitely don't dare to display good goods. If that's the case, they will be snatched away and won't be given a single copper coin. If the two of you really want to buy something, then go into this room and take a look. The things inside are all good. Since you are the family of the new great official, I won't make money. I will directly sell at the cost. As long as there is a great official here, the future days will be good. The man stood at the door and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan suddenly understood. At the same time, they were a bit angry. When they got off the ship, they sent people to collect information. They actually didn't find out this news. They failed in their duty. The two of them nodded at the same time and let the man lead them in to take a look. When they entered the room, they saw that it was indeed different from the things displayed outside. Zhang Xiaobao came to the front of the pen rack and looked. He pointed at a pen and asked, "Shopkeeper, how much is this pen made of weasel hair?" "Let me see. If you want to buy it, just give me 60 copper coins. The cost is the cost." The shopkeeper came over and reported the price. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. 60 copper coins is indeed not a profit. "It seems that the price you paid is also low. I will give you 100 copper coins. I will buy it." As Xiaobao spoke, he naturally didn't need to take out money. He was still young and couldn't carry too much money on him. The person next to him passed the money over. The shopkeeper was very embarrassed when he picked it up and said, "Actually, the cost of this pen is only 56 copper coins. I just said 4 copper coins. The space is also considered as storage money. I didn't ask for much. Do you know who raises birds here? My father likes little birds, so I want to buy 2. Zhang Xiaobao felt that this person was too kind. He kept so much stock and only asked for an extra 4 copper coins. It was normal to say that it was 70 copper coins. To buy such a pen in the capital, one couldn't even think about it without 200 copper coins. The shopkeeper held the money in his hand and was a bit excited, saying, "Actually, it is cheap. The people who hunt here also can't sell their prey at a high price. The people outside don't come to buy much. It is not worth it for the people here to go out once. You ask about the birds, there really isn't one. However, if the new good official wants one, he only needs to post a notice. Then, many people will go up the mountain to catch birds. A good official. Isn't it easy to get a bird? No. Oh, then forget it. If he can't post a notice, how can he be a good official? Then, we will leave now. I wish the shopkeeper's business prospers." Zhang Xiaobao didn't ask about the birds, but he knew the attitude of the local people towards his father. This could be considered a gain. As they spoke, the group walked out again. The shopkeeper followed behind them. When they were about to reach the door, the shopkeeper said, "Young master, why don't the two of you take some paper back? This paper is good for practicing calligraphy. Although it is not as good as good paper, it is actually a good official who posted a notice. He is a good official who doesn't force people to do things. Those birds that sound good indeed don't exist. However, in our county, there is a family that raises pigeons. It is Old Man Chong. His pigeons are not bad, but it is a pity that they don't sell them. The bailiffs are the same. His family has a few strong guards. The bailiffs have suffered a few losses and don't know why they don't dare to provoke them." "Pigeons? Which family? Tell us the place, and we will buy all the paper you have." As soon as Zhang Xiaobao heard the word pigeons, he immediately became energetic. What he wanted was pigeons. While asking for money, he pulled the shopkeeper and asked him to lead the way. "Follow this road to the west. After passing the government office, then the county office. After walking for more than 1,000 steps, you will see a small wine shop. After going around that house, you will see a small courtyard. Old Man Chong lives in the courtyard." When the shopkeeper heard that the new young master bought all the paper, he was very happy and stood at the door to show the way. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan carefully noted it down. They didn't care whether the paper was properly brought or not, and directly trotted in that direction. "Is anyone here? Help me shout." Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao found the courtyard. They stood outside and shouted towards the inside. They also asked the bodyguards who followed them to shout. The bodyguards' voices were very loud. "Is anyone here? Come out and breathe. Hurry up, or we will tear down the courtyard." A bodyguard shouted foolishly. His shout made Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan tremble. They hurriedly said to him, "Who let you shout like that?" Be polite. It seems that I will have to give you more training in the future. It is easy to get into trouble when you go out. It's still the two children who are sensible. This old man is really afraid of others tearing down the yard. You're Xiaobao, you're Yaowan, smart and quick-witted, aren't you? As soon as Zhang Xiaobao finished scolding the bodyguards, an old man came out from inside. He was supported by someone and walked to the courtyard gate. In fact, it was just a fence. There was no high wall at all, so they could easily see the people inside. The old man asked someone to open the door while smiling at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao were not surprised at all. The only thing they did not expect was that the person who raised the pigeons was this old man. Wang Wan's mouth moved. Do you think the old man knows us so well through the pigeons? Does he know anyone in the capital? I think so. So the pigeons raised by the old man are not ordinary pigeons, but the carrier pigeons we are looking for. This is good. Let's see how we can persuade the old man to raise them for us. Zhang Xiaobao also thought of this and replied to Wang Wan. The two people walked forward, and the bodyguards behind them followed closely. When they reached the door of the house, the old man suddenly said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "The space inside is small. Can you let your bodyguards wait outside?" When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan heard this, they raised their heads at the same time and looked into the old man's eyes. They did not see any conspiracy, but they still did not dare to take it lightly. Zhang Xiaobao hesitantly asked, "Can we bring two people in and let them stand? We don't need too much space." "Okay, let's bring two people in." "Then let's bring two people in." The little girl has a lot of thoughts. She can't be tricked. The old man did not refuse this time and led the four people in. Wang Wan said sweetly, "Grandpa just praised us for being clever. If we don't bring two people, Grandpa will not be able to take responsibility if something happens. You little girl are not ordinary. No wonder Minister Bai praised you as rare in heaven and earth. Tell me, how did you find me? Why did you find me?" Chapter 419. Wang Wan's trust in Zhang Xiaobao made her stand there and give the old man a smile. The old man put down his hand, looked at Zhang Xiaobao and said, "Kid, you can't let Cuckoo take such risks in the future. Can you guarantee that you can kill me in one go? Or can you make me unable to hurt Cuckoo? I used to be a guard, then a bodyguard, and then a housekeeper. I have seen many things." Zhang Xiaobao coughed and let go of his hands. He didn't make a sound. Wang Wan could tell that the old man wasn't an ordinary person. He didn't mean to hurt them. Otherwise, based on what the old man said just now, if it was true, he would at most suffer some injuries when dealing with the two of them. Since there was no danger for the time being, they decided to chat first. They couldn't ask about the pigeons right away. Wang Wan smiled sweetly again. Old Grandpa knows Grandpa Bai, but Grandpa Bai has never mentioned old Grandpa. When we return to the capital, we'll ask him why he didn't tell us earlier. Little girl, are you still testing this old man? I know him, but your Grandpa Bai's status is much higher than mine. I am just a housekeeper. In the past, when I saw him, I would greet him. This time, if you didn't come, he wouldn't have told me, especially you two little guys. That letter praised you again and again. Seeing you two today, I know that hearing about you is not as good as meeting you in person. You are really extraordinary. One dares to use himself to test me, and the other is standing in a position that can threaten me. Although I can't guess how he can hurt me, the kid's position makes me very uncomfortable. Little girl, if he moves, will you move? This time, the old man reached out to touch Wang Wan's head again. Just as he was about to touch Wang Wan's head, he bent his fingers like a claw and grabbed Wang Wan's head. At this moment, Zhang Xiaobao moved. He used his elbow to hit the old man's waist. At the same time, his other hand had already pulled out the steel needle from his sleeve. His elbow didn't touch the old man, but the hand holding the steel needle actually stabbed the old man from behind. It was impossible for ordinary people to do this. They wouldn't use any strength, and it would dislocate the arm. However, Zhang Xiaobao could do it. This was the escape torture technique. It was used to break free from bindings or handcuffs, and it could also be used to attack unexpectedly. Wang Wan also reacted immediately. She tilted her head back and used the iron bridge technique. Her legs left the ground, and she used the tip of her foot to tap the old man's calf. If one looked carefully, they could see a little cold light in the pom-pom in front of her shoe. Although the old man was just being supported by others, his reaction was not slow at all. Regardless of Zhang Xiaobao's elbow that hit his waist, he directly reached out to grab Zhang Xiaobao's hand that came out from behind. It seemed to be very difficult. He had to use his arm to slightly push Zhang Xiaobao away, otherwise he wouldn't be able to touch the hand that attacked from behind. While blocking Zhang Xiaobao's attack, he also had to deal with Wang Wan. The old man seemed to feel that Wang Wan's kick wasn't simple. He didn't raise his leg to block, but raised the leg that Wang Wan was about to kick backwards, dodging Wang Wan's attack. At the same time, he bent forward and grabbed Wang Wan's calf when he missed. Zhang Xiaobao didn't use his elbow to attack the old man's bites. Instead, he took advantage of the old man's hard resistance and suddenly raised his right leg from the side. Wei Wei bent her body towards the old man, so that the steel needle in her right hand moved forward a little more. Her right leg was also able to kick the old man's body. The small velvet ball on Zhang Xiaobao's foot also flashed with a cold light. Wang Wan dodged, and when her attack didn't hit the old man, she first used her hand to support her body. When she supported herself, her body slid backwards, and she turned 180 degrees. She kicked the guard's leg who hadn't reacted yet, and her foot rubbed against the ground with all her strength. Wang Wan's body immediately slanted up, and her head just happened to be facing the old man. She put her hands together and separated them, and with half of her arm bent, she bounced towards the old man. The old man had just turned sideways to avoid Zhang Xiaobao's kick when he saw Wang Wan flying towards him in such a posture. Moreover, Zhang Xiaobao's side had already bent down, and along with the movement of the steel needle in his hand, he had no choice but to give up the idea of standing still. He used his hand to support himself against the wall beside him, and his body directly moved back 2 feet. At this time, Wang Wan had already bounced to the old man's position just now. Zhang Xiaobao stopped with his back sweep, and with a spring of his leg, Wang Wan used her elbow to support herself, and directly came to Zhang Xiaobao's side. Zhang Xiaobao half squatted, while Wang Wan stood sideways. Both of them had 2 steel needles in their hands. The old man seemed to have not done such vigorous exercise for a long time. After dodging, he coughed. After a while, he said, "Good skills, even if you are using weapons. If I'm not wrong, the steel needles in your hands and the sharp knives hidden in the little things on your feet are all poisonous, right? No wonder you are so bold. 2 little kids, it seems like any one of you can deal with them. If that's really the case, if this old man didn't overestimate you in advance, I would have really suffered losses. This old man knows that you wouldn't do that even if you could take this old man's life, but I can't run away from some losses. Xiaobao, what's wrong with your arm? How can you attack from behind? And Cuckoo, at that time, you couldn't see Xiaobao's movements at all. How did you know that he could hold me back? Mine was trained. As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he rolled up his right sleeve. Inside, there was a hidden arrow launcher. There were already 3 hidden arrows on it. Trust and tacit understanding. Wang Wan also rolled up her left sleeve. There were also 3 hidden arrows. This time, the old man was speechless. The other party still had a backup plan, and he was forced to this point. Although he was a little older, he could even deal with an ordinary Imperial Guard. The 2 little kids were more than 5 years old, and their nominal age was 6 years old. Even if they were a little older, like 8 or 9 years old children, and they were still holding weapons that they had to dodge, it was still very impressive. It seemed that it was not easy for ordinary people to harm the 2 little kids. Their cooperation was too good, and their attacks were all killing moves. Needless to say, when the needles pierced the body, blood would be drawn and the throat would be sealed. Moreover, there were hidden arrows that were not used. Not to mention other things, when Xiao Bao stabbed the needles in the back, he used a hidden arrow. He would definitely be shot, and there was no way for him to dodge. At this time, the 2 Imperial Guards came over. One of them asked with concern, "Little young master, little miss, are the 2 of you okay?" Zhang Xiaobao rubbed the arm that had just used the detoxification technique and looked at the 2 helplessly. "Even if there is something wrong, I can't count on you. When we go back and start training, if something really happens, Cuckoo and I will have died 100 times before you can react." Wang Wan rubbed the back of Zhang Xiaobao's arm. The detoxification technique was not that easy. It could make 2 handcuffed arms at the back to the front in an instant. It was easy to imagine the pain at the place where the bones were connected. She was also very dissatisfied with the 2 Imperial Guards. She glared at them. "In the future, I will specially add this kind of reaction training. The 2 of you are far from enough. Less than 3,000 words, free." Chapter 420. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't do anything to the guards. They had just trained for more than a year. It was impossible to expect them to be like the Imperial Guards. They could only train them slowly in the future and teach them what to do. The old man now looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, the 2 children, more and more pleasing to the eye. The 2 children cooperated very well in the fight just now. Their movements were clean and neat. When they grew up, the 2 of them would have no problem dealing with the guards in the palace together. This was the combination of 2 swords, right? It seemed that the 2 masters in Bai Shu's letter should be a man and a woman who taught 2 disciples respectively. In this way, the 2 masters could be said to be very knowledgeable and knew everything. The 2 guards were frightened. They still didn't understand what had happened just now. They only saw the young master and the young lady quickly gesturing with the old man. The old man retreated, and the young master's arm seemed to be injured. They didn't know anything else, but it was too fast. "You 2 go out and wait outside. Xiao Bao and I will talk to Grandpa." Wang Wan helped Zhang Xiaobao massage the back of his arm and ordered the 2 guards. The 2 guards knew that the young lady was a little dissatisfied with them, so they retreated embarrassedly. They secretly decided that they must practice martial arts well. Not to mention going to the battlefield to kill the enemy, they must at least protect the people they were supposed to protect. In the future, if the young master and the young lady were to do something, they wouldn't be able to live anymore. "Grandpa, let's go inside. Grandpa is really powerful. If you had a knife in your hand, Xiao Bao and you and Xiao Bao should have used the sleeve arrows." No one would have thought that 2 8- or 9-year-old children would hide hidden weapons in their sleeves, and even less would have guessed that the 2 of you would react so quickly and cooperate so well. "Tell me, what do you want this old man to do this time?" The old man did not wait for Wang Wan to finish praising him, and praised the 2 of them. The old man was indeed very satisfied. From the position before the attack to when he retreated, the 2 of them were always so perfect. One was the main attacker, and the other was the support. Wang Wan was still smiling sweetly. "Grandpa, we don't have anything to do. We were just taking a stroll, and then we came to your place. We heard that there was an old man living here, and we saw him on the shore. So, Xiao Bao and I wanted to talk to you and ask about the things here so that we can go back and tell Xiao Bao's father." "Oh, strolling. Then you guys really know how to stroll. Come in." Xiao Bao's move just now was really frightening. It caught him off guard and caught him off guard. How could his arm do that kind of action? Detoxification technique, good skill. It must not be easy to practice, right? The old man led the 2 of them into the house. The layout of the house was very simple. There was a couch, a chair, and a table. There were a few small stools on the side, and a small table in front of them. There was nothing else. Zhang Xiaobao shook his arm and felt much better. He would be fine after resting for 2 more days. The detoxification technique was not that easy to use. He consciously sat down on the small stool with Wang Wan, and then said to the old man, "Grandpa, you can't learn this skill now. Little kids can learn it, but it's too harmful to the body. It's very painful, and it may leave behind a root cause of illness in the future. This process is very difficult. Oh. If it's so difficult, how did you learn it? The old man also understood how much damage that kind of action just now would cause to the joints of the bones. How else can I learn it? I clenched my teeth and endured it. Taking advantage of the fact that my body is flexible at this age, I can't just use it for fun. Every time I use it, I need to recover for a few days. When I go back, I have to apply medicine. Zhang Xiaobao explained. Then, does Cuckoo know how to do it too? The old man asked again. Wang Wan nodded. She only knows a few simple actions. She's not as good as Xiaobao. Grandpa, do you feel that it's humid to live here? It's by the sea. When the sea breeze blows, it brings the moisture of the sea here. Also, it always rains here. If you feel that it's humid, don't live in such a house. Live in a bamboo building. Humid? How can it not be humid? I've long gotten used to it. Bamboo buildings are good, but the people don't have the time and money to build bamboo buildings. They work all day long just to eat. Since you're here, I'm waiting for you to help the people live a good life. The old man was aware of this. However, in the past, he could only dream of building bamboo buildings. Now, he had placed his hopes on the Zhang family. Bai Shu's letter had detailed some of the things that the Zhang family had done. It seemed like they could manage Lu Zhou well. When he thought of this, the old man said, "The 18 ships that followed you here are very useful. You can ship the local goods out and sell them for more money. I wonder if your family is willing to do this? The land route is controlled by Qinzhou. When the goods are transported, the officials there will take some benefits. When the goods are sold and the benefits are included, there will be no more profit. In the east is Lianzhou, and in the middle is a strait that cuts off part of Luzhou. There are mountains on that side, and only some mountain people who might not even have a household register live there. It's not easy to talk to them. If you don't go through that narrow strait, it'll take half a day to get there and half a day to get back. Moreover, the local people in Lianzhou live a similar life as here. The things here are not worth much. If you sell salted fish in the same sea, you can get it, and other people can get it too. Why would they want to buy from you? The caravan that goes far away is only the one with the surname Shen. In the beginning, there were other caravans coming here, but the local officials drove them away and left the Shen guy behind. Life here is getting harder and harder. The old man explained in detail. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan listened attentively. The informants had a rough idea of what happened. Now, after listening to the old man, they had a clearer idea. Grandpa, how many mountain people do you think have no household register in Luzhou? What do they need? Can you let them come out of the mountains? There are still a lot of empty land here. My family and Cuckoo family's Yongye field have been given, but no one is planting it. It'll be a waste if we leave it there. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the mountains. Since there was no household register, it meant that the actual population was more than the registered population. Life in the mountains was not as comfortable as life on the flat land. It was just that the local people used to exploit them, so life in the mountains was better. The old man thought for a while and said, "Your family has brought nearly 1,000 Kaifeng people here. Isn't that enough? If you estimate the mountain people, there are about 2,000 of them. They live in a scattered area. There are more in the mountains in Qin province. If your family has the ability to pull them down, there should be at least 5,000 to 6,000 of them. However, the mountain people don't trust outsiders. They are fierce. If you want to use force to pull people down, the little prince's guards won't be able to do it, let alone the guards in your family. If they are as strong as the two of you, we can give it a try." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very happy when they heard that. It was good that there were people. It did not matter if they were not willing to get in touch with them. If they were fierce, they could be recruited into the army. Zhang Zhong only had an official position in the army, but he did not have any soldiers. At this time, Wang Wan said, "Grandpa, do the local people have any relatives outside? How do they send messages? Is it the Shin guy's caravan? How did you get in touch with Grandpa Bai? Did you take the official route?" "Ha ha ha. These two brats, just like what Baigo said, they were very clever and could not be compared to normal brats. They even said that they came here for a stroll. In other words, they just wanted to ask this old man if he had a flying slave, right? It's a pigeon. The old man was also a smart person. As soon as Wang Wan said that, he knew what the two of them wanted. Wang Wan smiled and looked at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and said, "There really is a carrier pigeon. Grandpa, where did you get this carrier pigeon? Can you help us raise some?" "It would be best if you could teach us how to raise them. We can use the method of hatching poultry to exchange with you." Zhang Xiaobao also knew the importance of carrier pigeons. If he did not take out some substantial benefits, he could not do it. He gritted his teeth and prepared to take out the method of hatching poultry as an equivalent exchange. The old man's eyes lit up. He hesitated and said, "Your family's method of hatching poultry is not a long-term thing. Don't think that it's just poultry. When the poultry are in the nest, they don't lay eggs. At that time, a chicken will lay less than 10 eggs. Some will even lay less than 20 eggs. There is a big difference between a few dozen more eggs and a few dozen fewer eggs. It's good to take it out. Although your family has already taken out many things, there are still people who want good things. As long as you remember that the emperor remembers what your family has offered, it's fine. Wait for me to write a letter to the master and ask. If master agrees, I will help you train some people to raise flying slaves. My master is currently idle at home. In fact, he is busy with Meiguan Road and Diyu Ridge. My master's surname is Zhang. I wonder if the pigeon eggs can be hatched? Zhang Jiuling? He's back? Wang Wan immediately thought of this person and was especially happy. Zhang Jiuling's home was not too far from here. In the future, she could have Zhang Xiaobao's father write letters to them. He's back. Little girl, what do you plan to do? Do you want to spend money to help fix those two places? The old man asked with a smile. Yes, we must. We are not sure if the pigeons can be hatched. We can try. First, we won't tell anyone about the hatching method. When we have enough ducks here, Uncle Zhang will return to the capital. Then, we'll have Uncle Zhang bring the method back. Zhang Xiaobao changed his mind again. The old man was stunned. How do you know that my master can go back? Of course he can go back after the places are fixed. Grandpa, tomorrow, no, in a moment, I will send someone over to learn how to train and raise pigeons from you. Give me a number and my family will immediately pay to fix the roads for Uncle Zhang. Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic. He was prepared to bleed and use money to exchange for the method. Well, 1,000 strings of coins should be enough. We can't let your family pay for it. Find a few smart people. Why don't the two of you follow along? The old man liked the two children. They were smart and sensible. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. 1,000 strings of coins is too little. My family will pay 10,000 strings of coins to let the people who are fixing the roads eat better and let Uncle Zhang relax. Cuckoo and I can't learn anymore. We will definitely find smart people. In a moment, I will have lunch with Grandpa. Grandpa, you must give me face. Reward, I couldn't ask for more. Baigo has mentioned many times in his letters about you two accompanying him to eat. The old man smiled with relief. He rubbed the two children's heads with a kind look on his face. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.